And yes, I just had to double check to make sure I actually was.
Are you double checking me? Do you see any icon of any sort? I don't see why you wouldn't, but anyway.
You could just check yourself by double tapping the PlayStation button.
Yeah. Back here. Okay. But anyway. So I guess we'll,
Now you're ready.
Yeah, I should be. Freaking streaming, I got my notes. But anyway. So... Start off with first conference.
Fucking EA setting the tone for everyone with their overall kind of underwhelming. Because, let's be honest, for most people this whole E3 was a little under par.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Well, yeah, we'll obviously establish that as we go on, but yeah.
For most people, this one was definitely under par, and
yeah.
EA kind of set that tone with the majority of their conference being sports or we'll show you this at another time.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think any
football dance number actually being one of the most entertaining parts of the whole fucking show.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, I don't think nobody really expects all that much out of EA. I think that's changed in the past, like, year or two ever since they've got the license to make Star Wars games, and that's, like, it. Which is, I think EA knows that, because, I mean, they freaking finished their show with Star Wars, like half an hour worth of Star Wars.
Yeah, but let's be honest, outside of Star Wars and that weird dance number I think it was for FIFA?
Did you mean the first thing they opened up with the drums and everything?
No, those two guys on stage. Or was
it those guys. Yeah, that was weird too. Yeah, that was very sports heavy. I don't know what that was necessarily about. Apparently that's a show, not that I know
of. Those guys were only entertaining because of how freaking weird it was.
Yeah.
Like, past them, what do we have to work with here? Not much.
But yeah, like...
Other than that, it was either Star Wars Battlefront, which... hype as fuck.
Yeah. We will talk about that.
Or it's... oh, well, here's Anthem, but we're only going to show you, jack shit of it. We'll show you actual gameplay at Microsoft's conference.
Yeah, go to Microsoft's conference.
Oh, we got new DLC and new game mode and all this coming. But we'll show you... we won't even tell you much about that.
Yeah, they showed, like, a brief trailer, and then that was it. They showed pictures, and that was it.
Get to it at Gamescom, so it's like... you couldn't
Why
even
did you come
tell
here?
Us what it is.
But... anyway, let's just go down the list here, because I got a few things on here. We'll talk about them individually. So I didn't actually put all that much. Okay, well, first of all, I'll get this out of the way first. I don't know if it was so much my sleeping was all over the place, but it's just also partly because some of these conferences were really freaking late at night, and for some reason I was really freaking tired through half of these. I never really fell asleep because I was bored.
Not early in the day, guys.
Hey man, you gotta get rid of the morning wood. But anyway. That's how it works. But anyway, so
are we done yet?
No, far from it.
I really want to go hide and cry.
Alright, let's get back on here. But anyway,
fucking Jaden talking about his goddamn morning wood.
But so we're going through like partway, but like by the time they got to like NBA and stuff like that, I ended up falling asleep briefly. Then I woke up and they were talking about something else, but whatever. Not that I probably missed much. I rewatched it. Like, by this point, I have, like, rewatched all of the conferences, or at least, at some point. So I, got the joint. But anyway, the only sports thing is the thing they opened with was the newest Madden. And hey, it has a campaign mode, just like they introduced with FIFA last year, which, if anything, that makes sense, but, alright, fair enough, at least they're adding something to it, other than it's like, oh, it's the same game as last year, but...
should have been there to begin with. Yeah. Been there every other fucking sports game, it seems.
Yeah, but, but they talked about, I don't have NBA on here, but they talked about NBA as well, and stuff like that. I forget exactly what they talk about. I don't necessarily care, but whatever. Good for you people that buy those. Whatever. But then the Battlefield 1 DLC I mentioned.
Play the goddamn sport.
But yeah, Battlefield 1 DLC, they're adding nighttime maps, and they're adding in the name of, I have no idea how to pronounce that, it's TSAR, but...
SAR.
SAR, yeah, I guess. Yeah. So, that's like, I don't think it's like a new campaign thing, but they did have a cinematic kind of trailer for it, but... I don't know, I don't play the Battlefield games, like the closest I've gotten to any of them is maybe trying to play the betas of them, but, I don't know if they're necessarily games that'd be, anything I would enjoy all that much, but, I guess that's it for that. Need for Speed.
He's not very good at the killing of the other people.
But, I don't know. Well, Genesite here probably it doesn't have much to say about that here, considering the fact that he doesn't actually own Battlefield 1. He hasn't played it. He has played the Battlefield, but he's not
actually did play it once. And honestly, it was decent, but it's like...
Still weird for you?
It didn't scream at me to play it, I think after the launch of Battlefield 4, which, don't get me wrong, got leagues better over time,
yeah.
And the thing that was Battlefield Hardline, I think Battlefield kind of pulled a Call of Duty on me and burned its welcome out for a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially, and I think which year did Battlefield 1 was last year, correct?
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah, because that was right around the time that Infinite Warfare and Titanfall 2 came out, so it's like...
Yeah.
Why would I need it?
Yeah.
I bought Infinite Warfare because it's sci-fi and I like campaigns, and it gave us more Star Wars than fucking Star Wars gave us. And Titanfall, I just like Titanfall 2 in general. That game was good. It's like, I didn't need another multiplayer first-person shooter. I almost said third-person. I didn't need a third one of them. So it's like, especially seeing how much fun I had with Titanfall 2, comparatively, Battlefield 1 was not on the radar, and honestly, still isn't. Sort of like how, for me this year, Call of Duty World War II is not really on the radar because of fucking Battlefront. It's like, why would I need Call of Duty World War II when Battlefront 2 is probably going to be more entertaining, especially for someone like me who likes sci-fi.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair point.
I say as I play a weird-ass World War II game.
Future! Alternative!
I thought that future, but then we showed not future at all, like... Damn it, me. Getting some consistency! No.
But I lost my consistency. But anyway, so I guess we'll move on to the next one. All right, so this one, the only thing I have listed for this, I kind of briefly just had, like, basically what I did for these notes was I just had the game's title. And then I say that as I look at the one here, and I just put Need for Speed. But anyway, it has a subtitle. But regardless, I just have like a few like bullet point things put down for certain things. But for this, the only thing I put down for Need for Speed, freaking what is it called?
Payback, I believe.
Payback. I was thinking something like that, like a Revenge. What was it? But yeah, Need for Speed Payback.
I almost said Need for Speed Rivals. I'm like, wait, not.
That already came out. That already came out. But Need for Speed Payback, the only thing I have on here was that transition they made from Battlefield to Need for Speed. That guy you could tell that guy. I don't know if you watched it. Well, I don't think you didn't watch it, did you? There was a guy that they had. Apparently, he's a YouTuber, and they went over to him.
I saw that.
Yeah, he
cringy as
yeah,
fuck.
he didn't want to be there, or he didn't want to be all eyes on him. I mean, granted, he did kind of get it together a little bit, and not too long after that. But still, it's like, get somebody else, please. Don't torture this poor dude. I don't know what. Apparently, he's a YouTuber on one of those prank channels. I guess he's not one of the worst ones, but still, it's just like, get this guy, get the guy out of here. He doesn't need to be here.
Gaming channel?
I guess not. I don't know. I don't know him. I'm not familiar with him. I don't think so. I don't know.
Dumb.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like, why?
I mean, it's already stupid enough just plucking a random YouTuber. Like, okay, some guys, like, let's say, Till Biscuit or someone who tends to be more well-spoken. It's like, them I could understand using for something like that, but just some random dude who's not used to this sort of shit. Why?
Yeah. I don't know. And it was so awkward too because another guy came from off camera and went up to him. He's just like, and they kind of like shook hands. They're like, yeah. It's just like,
please don't make me do this anymore tonight.
So you're just sitting there while you're just looking at that, and you're just all of us are just sitting there like, okay, transition, EA, stop this, please, don't do this to us, just fix this, fix it, EA, fix it.
More. They didn't fix shit.
But
it just made it worse.
But yeah, that's the only thing I have on the notes. But in terms of the gameplay, I remember.
You're fucking Need for Speed.
Yeah, it's Fast and Furious. You're driving down a road, you're tapping cars left and right, and they're flinging off the road and into poles and crap. And then this freaking woman jumps into this freaking trailer, then somehow has enough speed to burst out of the back like nobody's business, drives down the road in the opposite direction, and cool trailer shot, and then that's the end of the thing. It's basically what it is.
It's a racing game. It's Need for Speed. We know what we're getting.
Yeah, I mean, it looks fine,
unfortunately
but
isn't Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, which was actually pretty fucking neat.
Yeah, but that's another franchise I don't think I've ever touched at all. Was Need for Speed. I mean, I've obviously knew about it, but
I've touched a decent amount, but over the years it's just been like, I really don't care. For racing games, I need one, maybe two tops at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So will I be picking up Need for Speed Rivals? No, because if I want to play a racing game, I could play Need for Speed Hot Pursuit on the PS3, or I could just pop in Drive Club, go around a few laps, not give a shit. Because I'm not a car person. I don't really care about, this is a great simulation. And really, it's just, I want to drive something around in a circle for about 5 minutes, and that's it. You give me a racing game with a decent selection of things to drive, I don't fully care past that point.
Yeah. But I guess we'll move on to the next thing. This is probably one of the three things I'd say EA I think had that were interesting, at least to me, and I think a few other people, most people kind of found this interesting out of their conference, was A Way Out, which is by the same guy that
I keep forgetting that was a thing.
Yeah, so by the same guy that did a Brother, A Tale of Two Sons, which was, I think, a pretty acclaimed independent game that was it was basically
I'm not hearing good things about that.
Yeah, I believe it was a co-op game that you played by yourself, essentially, because you controlled both characters with both thumbsticks, I think.
Yeah,
I never played it, but...
controlled one kid, right controlled the other.
Yeah. And, apparently a lot of people like that, and it's by the same guy, and it's a pretty different looking game. It's like a prison story, but, I guess they do get out of prison, then all this other crap happens and stuff like that, so it seems interesting. They're doing the whole Heavy Rain thing where it splits to show different things going on at different times, somewhere else with but it's with another character. So one character will be in a cutscene, and then the other person will be doing something. And I don't know. Unlike Brothers, this game is a mandatory co-op game.
It's just called fucking Two Brothers.
Yeah, this game is a mandatory co-op game that you can play online or locally, but it can only be co-op. So it seems like you do need another person for this, unlike with Brothers of Tale 2
on one hand, I
Sons.
think that sounds neat, but at the same time, it's like that just kind of lowers the ability to play it.
Yeah, but at the same time, you always have people that complain, it's like, hey, I want, couch co-op stuff, because people get all up in arms about that when that's removed from games. Granted, that's kind of also just removed from, like, when they remove it from stuff like Halo, people get up in arms about that stuff, but still. So, I don't know.
I want couch co-op. I also want to be able to enjoy a game with my pants off, waving my dick around, okay?
People don't need to know what I'm wearing and what I'm not wearing. They just need to play the game.
I'm wearing a banana hammock, motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's the best attire for killing Nazis in discussing game shows.
But yeah, so I don't know. That one looks interesting. So it's one of the things that EA's kind of got going, because that was, I think, the segment that they kind of had, like, they had maybe last year, where they kind of show, like, a smaller independent project that they're helping with or whatever, but I don't know, those seem like they've been good so far, so, that's something that I'm sure will probably do well, but, alright, so, next, this was, like, the last thing they kind of showed off, with the exception of Star Wars, well, at least it's the only other thing I have in my notes. They showed off the new IP from BioWare, Anthem, and they showed a brief, like, maybe 5-second teaser.
Instead of showing gameplay, they went, we'll show you gameplay at Microsoft conference instead of, making our own conference better.
Yeah.
And
because people probably would have
surprised.
Yeah, the thing is, they probably should have done that, because the thing is, that would have added more to their freaking conference, because that was one of the highlights that people thought from Microsoft, or at least gameplay, that looked freaking cool. And EA was like, no, give it to Microsoft. Instead, we'll just do our sports and we'll have Star Wars. Like, maybe that's what they thought. Like, hey, we already have Star Wars, that's probably going to be fine. But at the same time, it's like BioWare's, like, your studio or whatever, and, just show it.
Especially after,
at least they showed something.
We heard that BioWare's new IP got canned after Andromeda. It's like, of all times that you want that in your conference, it's gonna be now.
Yeah. But
still happy it didn't get canned.
Yeah. But yeah, all I have on here is BioWare's new IP, and when people saw that the teaser of it, they were like, this looks kind of Destiny-like. And it's like, yeah, it kind of freaking opens with a wall and crap. It's like, alright. Okay. But yeah, that's, we'll obviously talk about that more in Microsoft, which is what we're almost coming up to here in a minute. But, so yeah, the last thing I have on the notes is the freaking biggest one they had. It was like, last quarter or so of their conference was Star Wars Battlefront 2, when they were showing off, this is
oh my God,
my stuff.
The fact that it is more like actual Battlefront and not the fucking hell Battlefront 1 was. It's like, oh hey, it takes the good graphics of the last Battlefront game, take the decent shooting. It's like, should we put in the things we took out from previous Battlefront games? Yes, you should. Put it back in there immediately. This is my pee-pee. It's like, put that back in there immediately, and they did. It's like, oh hey, class-based multiplayer's back. The hero tokens are fucking gone.
Yeah. The tokens you pick up on the map that do vehicles and stuff are gone, and now you just freaking spend points to freaking do that.
Which is so much more of a good system. I'm sorry, there is no way, shape, or form in which the tokens were a good idea.
Yeah.
That's again, should I know you?
But yeah, the whole thing is like, I have still not that there's a whole lot of them to necessarily try to go for, but there hasn't been a whole lot of Star Wars games yet, which is kind of interesting because we've had like 2 movies so far, and we haven't.
And that's another thing. Whatever happened to Actually, I remember seeing. Apparently, we just got some leak recently about Visceral Star Wars game, but that was announced that they were making one last year, and it was completely absent this year.
Yeah, that's the thing. Seen. Yeah, that's what I was kind of surprised. Granted, I didn't expect them to be like, hey, here's like half an hour Battlefront 2 of a match. Well, then again, we kind of heard about that before, but still, I thought going into EA's, Visceral is the studio, pretty much with the exception of BioWare, and I think we know why BioWare probably wasn't working on a Star Wars game, because they were working on Anthem. But the thing is with...
surprise, Anthem's actually a Star Wars game. We just lied to you.
Good lord.
Last boss all of a sudden just turns into fucking Darth Vader.
What the fuck? But, so, obviously EA has already put out a Star Wars game. They're going to be having another one by the end of this year. So far, they're the only studio that's been putting out these freaking Star Wars games from EA. Visceral is working on a game. We have freaking no clue what it is. We have literally no real details that I'm aware of, other than we've gotten...
we did get a leak, either today or yesterday.
If that's the case, then I don't know if I saw that.
Look at any of it.
Yeah, because I know
probably would have looked at some of it if we weren't doing this, because I'm like, oh hey, we don't have 15 people on our friends list on, and the secretary's online. Okay, time to do this now.
But I know there's been some images of concept art and stuff like that. I don't know if those were leaked in the past or if those were officially revealed. But the past year or two with EA, and they didn't do it this year, which is good, but it also kind of makes sense considering Battlefront 2 is an actual thing that's being enough in a working state to where they're showing it. But past year or two, we know that they've had Star Wars, but they wouldn't show us it. They'll be they'd make a video of a camera rolling around their offices, and they'd be and they'll be oh, hey, look at this. We're going to show you a brief thing on a freaking computer monitor, and then we're going to cut away. Which is they're showing their enthusiasm for working on the stuff, but it's at the same time, you got to show us the stuff at some point here, And they didn't do that this year, so... Well, they showed us stuff, obviously, but they didn't do the same thing they did for, the last 2 years. But yeah, we still don't, as far as I'm aware, haven't seen really anything too big. We don't even have a title for the Visceral game, which maybe, if anything, that probably shows you how far away it's probably going to be. So, in the next year or two, they're going to be working on it, but... I don't know. I think we do know that game, I think it's still rumors at this point, but I think there was, rumors it's meant to be... It might be it's either after, I don't know, I think it's supposed to be, but after, in the time period after episode 6 and before 7, which is interesting because that's what freaking Battlefront 2's campaign is going to be. It's going to be set in that time era, so maybe those leaks were for the wrong game or something? I don't know. But...
Yeah, I will go Google the leaks right now.
Okay, I guess we'll get that out of the way.
If my phone never loads up, because it's being a bitch. Visceral stomach fat. That's not what I came here for.
Ladies and gentlemen, visceral stomach fat. That's going to be the weird thing we're going to look up in this video.
What I came here for, let's see, co-creative Uncharted, working on a Star Wars game.
Yeah, that's another thing too, yeah. Okay, you know what I just thought of? What if this new game is revealed to be a semi-revival of 1313?
Definitely no.
Really? Okay. I was just thinking
1313 was on Coruscant. This definitely looks like I'm not saying Tatooine.
Yeah, I'm not saying a full-on revival, but maybe a similar thing, because it wouldn't be too far. Maybe it would be too predictable, though, because I think that they had someone that was involved with Uncharted working on, maybe the same person working on 1313, because it was a very Uncharted style like game from the gameplay that they showed. So who knows? Maybe they'll just be like, yeah, it's kind of 1313, but it's not.
The story takes place after the events of Empire Strikes Back, so between episodes 5 and 6.
Okay, that's
Character
interesting.
nicknamed Dodger because he dodged a draft into Imperial service when living on Alderaan, so he definitely was off Alderaan during episode 4.
Explains why he's alive.
We all know what happened to Alderaan. So he's put on a survivors list, being hunted by the Empire. They're looking for survivors and the quote-unquote terrorists, which, let's be honest, that's what the rebels would be called, that blew up the Death Star. Commit some criminals, start supporting the Rebel Alliance. Is armed with a blaster and was described as a light whip / grapple stick.
Okay. Alright.
And the website hints at having more information to come, and seems to imply that Dodger, the name being given to the main character, will somehow become aware of the second Death Star's construction and feel compelled to help. More than likely compelled to help stop it. So maybe we're looking at a sort of Star Wars Rogue One.
But for a second time. For the second one, not the first one.
Except playing it.
Yeah.
Which actually would be pretty, which kind of makes me wish that game would have already finished and come out earlier in the year, because then think about it, we'd get that, and then later in the year we would get Star Wars Battlefront 2 with the campaign taking place right after the destruction of that same second Death Star.
Right. Yeah. But, alright, yeah. So, I don't know, who knows, well, we might see that maybe sooner, or maybe if it's going to be later, probably at EA's next E3, considering Battlefront 2 will have already been out, and if they're going to show off a new Star Wars game, it would probably be that, because that's the one that's also in development.
I'll put my bet on it comes out next year, simply for the fact of they might just be pulling a Bethesda and waiting till like the year that it's going to come out to actually show anything about it in.
Right.
Let's be honest, that is like Bethesda's MO these days.
Yeah. Did it with Fallout 4. It's like, hey, remember that game you've been waiting a couple of years for? Yeah, it's coming out, and it's coming out at the end of the year. Have fun.
Fallout 4, literally, when we got around to it, Bethesda's entire E3 conference.
Yeah.
Friggin', I think the last major game they announced the year before it came out was Doom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just because that one launched earlier in the year. The following year, anyways. So I have a feeling if Doom had launched later in the year, it would have came out not late 2016, but late 2015, just based on Bethesda's behavior.
But, alright. But, anyway, Battlefront 2, kind of got off track, but it's still EA related, and it really, so. But, yeah, they talked about a few characters that will be available after the game's release, which will be Finn and Captain Phasma will be characters after the game's release. And speaking of DLC, all the DLC will be free, so...
That's another thing, like, why is everyone acting surprised about that? They said that shit fucking months ago.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know, it's like, I don't know. But it will have microtransactions, so... I don't know.
That's no big surprise there.
Yeah, they gotta pay. You gotta have money to pay for this stuff somehow. But I don't know. At least it would make.
Don't make the game in a way that makes it cost $80 million to make. Obviously, I'm just throwing out around high number there.
Yeah.
And then charging $60 pop after that part. Shit, it becomes a lot more affordable to be doing this shit. But these art companies gotta go, I need to have this game cost fucking $40 million to make. Next thing you know, shit, how do we pay for this?
Yeah, but that's a whole other freaking conversation we could have, is just the expectation of people for
Fucking
games.
Nazis!
But anyway, so yeah, all the DLC will be free, bunch of other stuff. They said it's like gonna have like 2 or 3 times the content, which, alright, yeah, makes sense.
Considering how
Even
little
saying that.
content
Yeah, it's
Battlefront
like
1 had.
you pretty much, said that anyways. Like adding a campaign makes it like at least 1 time, 2 times bigger than that anyway. So it's like, yeah, alright, fair enough. But yeah, point is they're doing a lot of stuff with Battlefront 2, so yeah, making improvements as any sequel should do. But yeah, in terms, let's see, so trying to think of anything else EA. Like the sports stuff I didn't necessarily, obviously neither of us cared about really. There was nothing that they really talked about. They're just like, yeah, it's story mode, it's coming out, and yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, EA's conference for me, I don't know.
Kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, well, also the fact is, like, I don't care for EA too much as others, I guess, or at least I don't get as many of their games necessarily, just because it's just not something that happens. But
I mean, overall, it's like the stuff that they should have had that would have been great for their conference. They moved to other places.
Yeah, they gave it to others,
and so we're left with another game that, from this leak, sounds fucking interesting, and Star Wars Battlefront 2, which looks good. So, for the most part, we're not left with all that much.
Yeah, we're left with Star Wars.
If you're trying to get to fucking win E3, that's not a good way to do things.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, I don't think EA has ever done that. Like, I don't know if people they've ever had a year where somebody at least didn't complain about something, but that was mostly because they're always going to have that sports there, regardless if they even need to show it there or not.
Honestly, they could literally go 3 years without
showing a sports game. Yeah,
we got new Madden, new FIFA coming out this year. Sales would never be affected. Awareness of the series would never be affected. It's like GTX. Like, it doesn't need to be there. You just need to have someone say at some point, yeah, it's coming, and the people that buy it are gonna buy it.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, if they didn't have that, I'm not sure if EA wouldn't. Maybe not so much because they don't have the franchises or anything. It's probably just because they wouldn't have, be able to line up all those enough around the same time to where they would fill up the whole E3 thing with it. Because, I mean, like, what are the...
If they'd stop being twats.
It's like, I mean, what are the odds of them having a Mass Effect, a Titanfall, a Star Wars, a frickin', whatever other, an Anthem-type game or something? What are the odds of all those things happening and being enough in development at the same time to show?
Significantly better if EA would stop fucking screwing over their developers and franchises.
But
EA has developed a bad history of going, oh, this game was good, we'll buy this developer and this franchise, and let's find some way to fuck up the development, blame the developer, and cancel the franchise, and sell off, and close the company. It's like, EA they can produce good shit, but they are fucking horrible as far as actually, like, business-wise goes.
But yeah, so I don't think either of us went into EA expecting a whole hell of a lot, and we didn't necessarily get that either. But
I wanted, and that was the hope that Battlefront 2 was going to be good.
Yeah, which I think we pretty much kind of already got around freaking Star Wars Celebration when they dropped that trailer, because that immediately I was like, okay, this looks cool. But yeah, so overall, EA was, for me at least, it was fine. I mean, we'll say this at the end. We already kind of stated earlier, that's kind of how this E3 kind of was in general. It was good, but it wasn't amazing, nor was it terrible.
It could have been a lot better.
But So yeah,
I mean, let's be honest. Even I was very much like it gets like a C, at least until Nintendo happened.
oh, we'll get to that.
This is what that's what happens when you give me something I've been waiting for years. Actually, for the record, no. Well, I'll say that when we get to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Next was, I
Save it.
believe,
I'm pretty sure I have.
Microsoft.
Yeah, hold on a minute. I just scrolled down to the bottom of the list, and I have Nintendo's name down there, but I actually never typed any of the stuff out. But theirs wasn't very long anyway, so I think I can, think of them. But anyway, yes. So also, I'll point this out real quick too. The freaking schedule of E3 this year was so freaking weird for me. I mean, I guess it's never been a same schedule from year to year. It's always been kind of all over the place a little bit. There's been somewhat of a pattern, like EA is always the first one, and then like Ubisoft is always like before Sony. But for me, it's like this is like spread across 4 days, these conferences, and all of them, except for Nintendo's, were before E3 technically started. And Nintendo's was the only one that actually was on the first day of E3, and they weren't even at E3, I don't think, necessarily, or at least like didn't have like a full-on conference like Sony or Microsoft did. So it's like, this is freaking weird.
The Nintendo Direct thing.
Yeah, which was like half an hour, but...
And it still made me happy.
But anyway, alright, so... But, so, alright, I'd imagine... we'll talk about Microsoft's games, and then we'll get the elephant in the room last.
No, fuck. Well, first of all, for me, the biggest elephant in the room was the fact that after actually looking at the list of games they had there at their conference, it's a good list, and then I start looking at it closer. They're either multi-plats, such as Anthem, which, oh my god.
Yeah, well, let's see, is that even on the list here?
Give it to me now.
Yes, I did,
Anthem
but at
was
the very
shown
last.
Microsoft.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, it was like the last thing they showed, which honestly,
yeah,
if you're gonna close out a conference, closing it out on something like Anthem is a good way to go. Because Anthem looks so good. Flying around a sci-fi world in fucking Iron Man suits. Ooh. Yes.
But anyway, so I have 2 things that were just like the conference itself. Like the stage and everything itself, not necessarily what they were showing. The brief intro they did, like the first little introduction thing they did, where they showed like resolution throughout the past like 10 or so years. I kind of like that for the fact that they showed a lot of like older Xbox original games, 360 games, and some of the stuff that like you don't entirely associate with Microsoft, or at least not anymore, but a lot of that stuff that they showed, like they showed, I more recently watched it, they showed freaking Oddworld Munch's Odyssey, like a brief glimpse of that, which that was a exclusive to the original Xbox back in the day, so, that was cool. They showed Limbo, which was that Xbox Live Arcade game on the 360 back in like 2010 or whatever. I freaking remember that thing. They showed some stuff in there, so it was kind of cool seeing them sneak stuff like that in there. And then, of course, they just went through the resolutions, which I guess was a fair way of starting that. But also,
with what they were going to try to show off later.
Yeah, but also, I just have on here is I think the design of the stage was kind of interesting, but I think it's also kind of the same stage design they've had for the past like couple years. But yeah, it's just kind of stuff like that. Like I like their little intro. Yeah, it's green, it's black, it's got different colors everywhere. It's got an Xbox logo. Yeah, it will do. But anyway, so yeah, they out of everybody, with the exception maybe Sony, which we'll talk about later, is they probably showed off the most stuff.
They did. Actually, pretty sure they did show off most stuff, but like I was saying before, it's like majority of it is either multi-plats, games that have been on PC for God knows how long, if like I'm talking months, if not over a year. So it's like you're showing off stuff that is nothing new, and people have already been able to play on PC for God knows how long. It's sort of like when they brought Minecraft to consoles. It's kind of like you expect us to get excited, but
which
really,
ironically that came first to the 360. Ironically enough, which is really ironic when you consider the fact that Microsoft owns that franchise now.
I mean, at least when it came to 360, okay, that was the first time it came to console, so
it had to start from pretty much the beginning.
Circumstance, but when it came to the new generation of systems, like the PS4, the Xbox One, it's like, and hell, now it's coming to Switch. It's like I'm not gonna give a shit. I mean, don't get wrong. Would I play it? If I felt bored enough, or felt some creative urge, yes. But I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, some Minecraft's coming to the Switch. No, because we've seen these reveals for, Minecraft, freaking system whatever version, multiple times now. It's like, showing me something that is
already
older does not make me care. It's like, if you're showing me like a version of a game that's like 10 years old and remastered, making it look all pretty, I'm going to be inclined to care a little bit. Not a whole lot, unless it was a game I was really fucking fond of. But it's like, when most of your list is that, and the only actual exclusives you have
also
first of all aren't even that anymore, because they're on
PC releases.
And it's like, really, you're left with Forza, which, again, me and racing games, I only need like one or two, so constantly coming out with these racing games does nothing for me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that seems like Forza in general. They freaking seem like they crank those things out.
Then after that, you have State of Decay 2, which I didn't really look into much at all, so I can't say anything about that one. Sea of Thieves, which could be interesting, but at the same time, I'm not putting much faith in it because, it's rare. Yeah, but it's current rare.
All right, well, let's go down the list here because let's get to all of these. So we already briefly mentioned Forza. Forza's like kind of the same mindset as you. It's a racing game. Don't care too much about it. But they made the big deal of bringing out a car on stage, and it's like
that was another thing.
Yeah, which I thought was like, okay, fair enough.
Like a, what the hell the brand was, a 911. It's like, oh hey, check out our amazing 911.
Yeah. Which the thing is, apparently that was like...
I can't blame Microsoft for that one, but the company that makes that car, did you not run that name by anyone? Because you really should have.
But the thing is, too, like I said, you brought this up too, and the same thing with me. I'm not a car person. But the same thing is the fact that apparently that was something, the name of the car, whatever it was, there was an S at the end of it, which means it's not even like a full-on new car. It's like a revamped model. So they made a big deal like, we're showing off this new car, and it's like a revamped version, which is ironic considering what their freaking conference basically was kind of around. But which I think they did that on purpose because they even said that, But yeah, so Forza 7, the only thing I have on here, they mentioned that it will be running at 4K and 60 frames per second, and it will release...
To be honest, some people want to be jizzing their pants about that, but...
It's a racing game.
It's a racing game.
Which, that's the other thing, too.
The easiest thing to get running at a high frame rate, other than like a fucking 2D game.
Yeah, that's the thing, too.
If you break it down realistically... It's racing games, especially Forza. Okay, what do you have to make it look pretty? The starting area and the cars.
They're easy games to make look pretty, which is why they show them off all the time. But at the same time, it's
and
like
realistically speaking, is Forza even actually, other than just a resolution upgrade, is the new Forza actually going, the 4K version, actually going to look any better? Is the polygon count going to be higher? Is anything going to be different? Because if not, then it's literally just essentially upscaling, and that's fucking boring.
But, yeah, it's just, I don't know. As soon as I saw what they were starting off with, I was like, okay, you're making a big deal of having something that you're saying looks pretty, but it's like, racing games have been looking pretty for, like, since like midway through last generation or so, say maybe even earlier. Have you not seen the Gran Turismo games? Those games look pretty good. Those have always looked good for their consoles that they've been on. PS1 looks
And
pretty
it's like,
good.
if you want to make a big stink about, oh, it's running at 60 frames per second, again, you have one thing to make it look pretty. You can literally make everything else look shit, like how both Forza 5 and Drive Club did with their fucking backgrounds. Like, literally, look at the background crowds in either of those games. They're
They're
low
not.
polygon,
Yeah, I remember you
disturbing
sending me
looking
a
things.
screenshot from Drive Club like probably a year or so ago at this point. Yeah, they don't put details into the freaking
And fucking
into the
Forza 5
audiences.
is literally just a single static 2D JPEG image.
Oh my
Or
god!
PNG or whatever image. Yeah, it's a static image.
I
That's like
laugh at that
repeated.
because it is funny, but it's like at the same time I understand. Like you're not gonna make a racing game and have legit audiences. Like why wait? Like you'd basically be wasting like disk space and process.
Resources just to
You'd
make
be
that
wasting
shit.
processing power on audiences and AI routines that don't do anything. If anything, that would probably cause the game to
I know some
crash all
people
the
will be
time.
like, and I know some people will be like, then why are you complaining that they look like shit? Because
Because they.
here's the thing, it makes the game a lot easier to run at higher frame rates. So going, oh, it's 4K 60 FPS, but it's the least impressive thing to run. It's literally going, oh, we've got this fucking thing to run around the racetrack. Oh yeah, what you got? We put a horse and we made it run. It's something that naturally fucking runs. I'm not impressed. Now, if it was, we'll say a new Halo or Gears of War game going, look,
That was pretty good.
running 60 frames per second, split screen,
Which even
in
then,
4K, that would be actually impressive because first-person shooters are a lot more difficult to deal with for that than fucking racing games.
yeah. But to be fair, I don't know how about the more recent Call of Duty games, but those have pretty much always always run at 60 frames, didn't they?
Yeah, and they still go. That's the reason why they don't look as good as the games that forego the 60 frames to make it look a little prettier, like say Battlefront and Battlefield. But they do maintain that. But it's a lot harder for them to fucking do than
a racing game. I get your point. It's something more, but yeah. So that's coming out October 3rd of this year. So it's going to be like near end of year release, and all right, whatever. It's a race.
If they had gone like Crackdown 3 saying that was going to be a 1080 or not 1080, fucking 60 frames per second. 4K.
Get that out of your head, Josiah. 1080 sucks, doesn't it?
Like if they had said it with that, I'd actually be impressed. Big old open world game. Now that would be impressive. But they didn't. They made a big stink about it with fucking Forza.
But so next one I have on the list,
look, I finally lost my virginity. To the town slut, it's not impressive. Everyone's fucking done it. Well, not everyone's done 4K racing games, but you get my point. It's not hard to do. Anyone can do it. I say anyone, me, and these large companies can make it happen if they put in about 5 minutes of effort.
Great analogy. Anyway, so I think this is the next thing they showed, which was more interesting, at least to me, just because I don't know, is more appealing to watch. New Metro games coming out.
That actually got me very happy, especially the fact that I had to double check afterwards see, is this actually an exclusive to Microsoft, or is this...
Yeah, it's not. I don't think, is it?
It is not an exclusive. Yeah. Which has me so happy, because I obviously didn't get a chance to play Metro 2033 until the Metro Redux, because even though Metro Last Light came to PlayStation 3, Metro 2033 never did. That was only on 360. So when I finally got Metro Redux and played them, because I had played a little bit of Metro last night, but seeing as I hadn't played 2033, I was like, what's the point? I don't know anything what's going on. I have no investment at all. Picked up Metro Redux, was able to play through both of them, fucking loved them, and hearing that Metro Exodus is coming, it looks so neat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, it made me very happy. For me, that would be the highlight of Microsoft's whole console was Metro Exodus.
Mm. Yeah, I've never played a Metro game. Now that I think about it, I think I technically own 2033, something like that, for the 360, because for a while I did have a Xbox Live Gold account on the 360. I don't at this point, but I always kind of tried to go on there and get the games on there, and one of them was that. Like, I have a bunch of freaking crap on there, but and that was one. I haven't played it, but I just did put it on the list, so I think I do technically own a Metro game, but maybe two. I don't know.
It's fucking fun.
Yeah, but
well, actually, you're not too crazy on first-person shooters, so.
Well, I'll play them. I'll play them. I mean, I don't have anything against them.
It's definitely a great, like, survival, like, essentially. Think Fallout with a more structured story instead of like wandering around being an RPG, more like serious tone, dark Fallout, we'll say.
But
in Russia, underground.
But
with
yeah.
Nazis.
And if it's last light or whatever, it'd be boobies, as Angry Joe would say.
This is true. This happens. Also,
this happens.
Shadow, you got me fucking thinking. Now I'm thinking about Metro. I'm like, why am I playing Wolfenstein? Why am I not playing Metro? I want to play Metro.
But anyway, so yeah, that is, I believe that they did say, because, you know, Microsoft did this at least last year, they had that whole announcement thing in between each trailer or whatever, where it was like, exclusive or whatever. Although they shortened it this year, because last year, every time something that was an exclusive title to them, it would be like, Xbox One and Windows 10 exclusive, and it would say the whole thing. This time it just flat out said either exclusive or world premiere or something. It didn't actually read the entire thing of what was on screen. But
probably
yeah,
wise, because fucking Xbox and Windows 10 exclusive is a goddamn mouthful, and I am not a cheap hooker on Pornhub.
But
I did not come here for mouthfuls. I came here for games. And
okay.
I am full of weird analogies.
Yeah, you are filled with sexual analogies that work fairly well.
I know, that's a scary
Man,
part.
freaking last year was, like, not this vulgar. Good lord. But anyway, yeah, Metro Exodus, who knows, it's been a while since I saw that 4-hour video, but yeah, so Metro Exodus is not an exclusive, which I kind of figured it wouldn't have been, considering Microsoft probably would have had to pay a lot to do that, potentially, at this point in time, but I don't know. It might have been just like a world premiere thing or something. I forget what it would have actually said, but yeah, apparently that's not exclusive. But
world premiere, and some people were jumping the fucking gun because they think every time a game is shown at either Sony or Microsoft's conferences, it's automatically exclusive to them. Yeah, which is so retarded, because I'm sorry, seeing as Call of Duty is shown every fucking year at one or the other, what the hell made y'all think that being at one or the other makes a game exclusive to them? Oh yeah, people are retarded.
But yeah, Metro Exodus, the trailer was cool. I did like the trailer.
I have many questions for that though. Like, for example,
why taking off the mask?
Yeah, like why are they suddenly like taking off the mask outside? Like, is the surface world becoming livable again, or is it a case of they're already infected, so they don't care? So like, we're already dying. Why would we fight it?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I know a few people who are like, "Why just take the mask off?" And it's like, all right. But yeah, I do believe that trailer is a cinematic CG, well, maybe not CG necessarily, but it is a cinematic trailer that's meant to look like gameplay, I think. But I'd imagine
Honestly,
the game probably won't
based
look too
on what
far
I
from that.
remember of the Metro games, that very well could just be like cinematic moments from the actual game, like in-game
Mm-hmm.
engine.
Oh yeah, I'd
Because
imagine it would at least be an in-engine, because most stuff
Metro
usually is
looks
zoned
very
for
good.
trev. Yeah, cinematic trailers usually nowadays at least have it in-engine. Doesn't mean the game will look like that per se or whatever, but it does mean it's
I get a
capable of doing
feeling
that.
Metro will probably. I get a feeling
Yeah,
Metro will probably look pretty similar to that. I mean,
yeah,
obviously,
I'd imagine
I'd assume
so.
that would probably be the PC version that looks like that, unless that
Like,
is the console version, in which case the PC version must look fucking amazing.
but one thing I'll point out is the music that they used. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because not many people saw this film, and granted, I technically haven't either, but I just recognize the tune, the music from it. The music they use is from the movie. It's one of the 28 days
28
later.
weeks later.
Yeah, 28. Yeah. Nobody's pointed that out, and I was like, am I the only one that pointed it?
I can't remember who I saw that pointed that out, but I know someone at least that didn't. Honestly, for the feel of the movie, I think that is a good, holy big key, but I think that is a very good choice for the trailer.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah, it did work. Because I think they had that played throughout, no, they had it played throughout the trailer. Like, it had, this middle section of the trailer, when stuff was kind of calm, they got, it kind of dimmed out, and then when things started ramping up again at the end, they kind of started back up again. But, yeah, I thought it was a pretty good choice of music. It's always cool when they throw that piece of music in, but yeah, it was like nobody was pointing that out. I was like, okay, apparently people don't remember that, I guess, or either they're so caught up in the fact it's like, holy crap, it's Metro, that they're not thinking of the music, which is probably the
Metro
case.
very
But
good, yes.
but yes,
Metro
that is. Yeah, but yeah, Metro Exodus is coming out sometime next year. They just said departing 2018. They didn't give an exact release date, which. Maybe if it sticks to that, maybe like midway through next year or something like that, maybe. But
that sounds about right, because let's be honest, Metro is not a end of the year sort of game. That's more your like really big like mass appeal franchises. Metro has appeal, but let's be honest, it doesn't have the same appeal as like Battlefront, Call of Duty, Battlefield.
Yeah.
I will be picking it up though. There is zero doubt on that one. I like me some Metros.
But, so, next one on the list, which was first shown off at Microsoft's, which was kind of interesting, the new Assassin's Creed game finally got showed off. It was not shown off at it was not shown, first at Ubisoft's. So, yeah,
Because we're Ubisoft, and we're fucking stupid and think that showing a new entry in one of our biggest IPs in someone else's conference is a good idea, even though it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, but as someone that has also, I don't believe I've ever really played an Assassin's Creed game either. I don't know. I mean, the idea of Assassin's Creed is always obviously, even if you haven't played the games, some people could say that the idea of the series is at least interesting. Going back to different time periods and going through history and stuff. It's a way of making history-related video games actually pretty cool. But yeah, so this one they are going back to Egypt. Pretty much the stuff that was leaked is pretty much true. The name I think was leaked, and it's Assassin's Creed Origins. The logo was leaked, and I think that's the exact same logo. Although I'm not sure. I haven't necessarily looked at the actual logo they use, but I think they do have the one Egyptian eye in the middle. At least that was the one that they had some marketing stuff for, and that's what the logo looked like. But I don't know if the final one that they showed has that or not, but whatever. But yeah, this is actually I guess this is a prequel game, I'd say, because this is meant to be the beginning of the Assassin's line or whatever, I guess.
It could be a direct sequel, because the actual gameplay part of it doesn't take place at the time that it looks like it does. It takes place sort of modern day, more like a person reliving the memories. So it could be a sequel, or they could actually go directly just, instead of playing as a person playing as a person, we're actually directly playing the fucking person ourselves, which would be interesting. be a nice change of pace. But my main thing is the fact that we're actually seeing like the beginning of the Brotherhood
Mm-hmm.
is very interesting to me. I want to see that shit. I'm on board with that.
Yeah. But yeah, for having a different setting, being in Egypt and everything, that's interesting. It does seem like that's a setting that's necessarily used, at least not to this extent, a whole lot. Yeah, it looks pretty nice. Gameplay was pretty, good.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. But yeah, that's coming out also October 27th of this year.
Oh, fuck it. October 27th. It's a very full day.
But yeah, so
game developers are like making you choose who you want to fucking side with. Choose your own adventure.
But yeah, that was Assassin's Creed Origins. We knew it was going to be a thing, and pretty much we knew the name and everything before it came out. So it's like, yeah. But another one I have on here, which is an exclusive in a way, but not entirely, and this is kind of what you were bringing up before. It's a game that's existed on PC for a while, but it's coming to console.
Yes, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Yeah, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, which is coming exclusively to console, to Xbox One, which is going to be there. Is a console exclusive for Xbox. So it's not an overall exclusive, but in terms of consoles, it's a console exclusive for Xbox. I can't say a whole lot,
but it's been old enough to have been unknown for a while, and then only really catch popularity in the last year or so. It's like, this is not the sort of thing you should be trying to get people hyped with.
How long has this game been around, like, overall? Because I've never heard about it till I was watching random IGN stuff, and they were playing it. I've never heard of this.
First of all, long enough for me not to give a shit that it's coming to console. Any console, it's like Undertale. Oh, it's coming. I don't care. PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. See, we're in. Oh, both. What the fuck?
More recent than you thought?
It did originally come out supposedly it originally came out in 2017, which is surprisingly enough.
Alright.
Which is a bit confusing, but it's been out at least a few months. I'm just like, really, why should I care?
Well, if anything, the fact that if that game came out like pretty much months ago at this point, and they've already got a console exclusive for it, that's kind of out of the norm, at the very least. Or at very most, I don't know.
It's a game that other players have been playing. And in fact, one of the first things I see is the new H1Z1. So basically, you're telling me, I don't think I saw any zombies in it, so it's essentially just like.
I think it's just like
H1Z1 and goddamn what's the word? What's the name I'm looking for? Not H1Z1, the one H1Z1 was like ripping off.
DayZ? I don't know.
Yeah, DayZ. It's like, so what, we're dealing with DayZ minus zombies? Bullshit?
I don't know. From what I can tell, it seems like it's just a massive, I don't know if I'd say open world, but like open game where people freaking try to kill each other. and they... one thing I actually did see, like I said, random IGN stuff, because I was looking to see if they would have had started putting up any E3 stuff, because I was still unsure when everything was going on at that point. But I saw them kind of playing some of that, and like they were going through houses and I guess picking up stuff. So it looks like it's almost like something you would do in a zombie game, but I guess there's no zombies, and it's just other players. Like, I don't know. They were like parachuting from really high up in the sky, which is kind of cool, but it's like, okay, it's just a massive game and everything. So
it's a shittier. It's like another version of like Rust and a shitty version of Arma.
I don't know. I guess so. I'm not in too touch with the realm of these type of games anyway. So I mean, whatever.
The more I'm hearing about it, the less
impressed you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But
But yeah, so that's going to be coming the console exclusivity for Xbox One. We'll see if it stays permanent or not, or if they end up having like something like what Minecraft had in the first like 3 or so years it was out, where it was only on Microsoft, and then they're like, yeah, we're console, freaking contract's done. They freaking ripped it up, and they were like, okay, here's all the other platforms, but now it's literally on everything.
Stay on the freaking Xbox One, because I really am unimpressed with this game. Like, I give no shits that it exists. Or that it's coming to anything.
Yeah. I do not have a release date for, like, this version. I don't think they gave one, but I imagine it probably won't be before too long. But, alright. If we're done talking about that, the next one is going to open up a freaking, you know what, I think we'll talk about it here, because I would say save it for Sony, because it's kind of a Sony-related thing, but we'll talk about it here, because Sony didn't really have anything that tied into it either. Next thing is, Minecraft. They had a freaking bunch of bomb drops, for me personally. I think this is the first thing on the list I've actually written down a decent amount of stuff underneath something. But Minecraft had some pretty big reveals.
The biggest reveal for me was the crossplay with PC and Switch. Which, for the record, Sony, good job fucking that up.
Yeah, we'll bring that. Yeah, we'll bring that up here in a minute. I'll list a few other things off here. They're having, I know everybody was making jokes about this, was the fact that, he's like, oh, 4K Minecraft. It's like, yeah, people, you can laugh at that, but you do realize most of the time the games that end up really looking good when they, or anyway, that when they look, they look good, really good when they look good, is the fact that, like, games that aren't fully realistic. Minecraft's not very realistic in terms of its design.
But at the same time,
so it's going to look fine.
It's going to look like Minecraft.
Well, yes, it is going to look like Minecraft,
but shaders and the god rays, but it's like you can't change one very inconvenient fact. It's fucking Minecraft.
But, like I said, the whole 4K thing. Granted, I'm talking about a resolution that I don't think I've been given much reason to really care for. But at the same time, it's a new resolution.
The few times I've seen a 4K TV in person, I have not been blown away. Like, honestly.
No, neither have I. I mean, I could be on, maybe not. But the thing is, like, I was about to say, is like, maybe I don't know what I'm necessarily supposed to be looking for. But that's the problem. At the same time, it's like, why do I need to be looking specifically for something? If it's a better resolution, I should be able to notice it. Like, if you go from freaking 480, like, freaking 240 to freaking 480 or any higher, you're gonna notice a difference. We're going from resolutions to the point where we're not even seeing a difference unless you're looking, like, we're making the pixels smaller, but the thing is you will not notice it unless you're playing a game on, like, a freaking computer monitor, which maybe maybe that's an explanation for it, but the thing is, if you're using it as a TV, it's not going to look all that much better. If anything, one thing I think I've seen that 4K does, maybe these are just the ones that had more color, like water, like if you're watching water, like real life water on some show or something, it will look really freaking blue. Like, I don't know if they just messed up with that water or if the TV.
Be HDR though.
Yeah, but like, you have all these freaking different colors, and you're making the pixels smaller, which won't make any difference unless you're sitting right in front of the freaking thing, which in that case, you're probably using it for a computer monitor. But even then, it's like, what is that fix? Oh, it's not as jarring because I see the freaking pixels. My monitor, I don't know what the freaking pixels and stuff and I think that goes up. I think that my thing is at least a 1080p like monitor type thing. Yeah, you can easily see the pixels in the thing, but I'm not distracting by, like, oh crap, I can see the pixels, I smash it with a hammer. Like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, the freaking TV I'm looking at right now, you can look at the pixels, you have to kind of go closer to the TV, but still, it's like, I don't know, but the point is, like, you can get a game, simplistic games, with something added to them, like resolution or whatever, they're gonna look great. Yeah, it's gonna look like Minecraft, but I would hope it is, because, to keep the game the same. It's just gonna look cleaner. It's like when they brought, Minecraft to the consoles and stuff. It was like, oh, it's gonna look clear, and then they went to this current generation, they upped the frame rate or whatever, and it's gonna look nicer, and that's just it, and that's all it needs to do. Joke about it all it want, but
a very fine line to walk, because if you were to, like, it depends exactly how far back of a game you're going. Like, if we're talking all the way back to, like, Super Nintendo days, you gotta be careful with that shit, because if it's not actually remaking it, like, let's say it's just upscaling it, believe me, it looks worse than it did back in the day. It still looks alright, but it starts to look blurry, especially, like, with things like lettering and whatnot, which shocked the hell out of me when I found that out for myself.
But, yeah, so there's going to be a 4K resolution update, which they didn't mention where that was going to get released. I don't see why that wouldn't come to Pro, like PS4 Pro. I don't see why that would necessarily come to that, maybe. But,
so they can try to sell the fucking Scorpio, which I don't give a shit what they say. That's the fucking name I'm going with.
But then they also, I think they said this, there's going to be more player-made stuff being added to the game. So I guess people are going to make their own texture packs or something, and apparently they're also going to be able to make their own skins. So that's interesting.
1,000 skins of dicks.
Probably.
Just saying.
A texture pack a texture pack that is nothing but that. Obviously you're gonna have
metal penis.
You're gonna have three things. You're gonna have that. You're gonna have one you're gonna have swastikas, and you're gonna have cats, and you very well could have one that combines all three.
I will have one that combines all three, especially when they're all three separate. Someone's gonna go, I am going to create the best Minecraft 4K texture pack that has ever existed. And
4K kitties! 4K
Nazi dick cats.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, that sums up the internet. Oh my gosh, it does! Adding the 4K in front of that really sums it up. But anyway, so yeah, Minecraft's getting a 4K resolution update. They're doing that stuff, which I'm wondering how that's going to work, if that was something that is going to be added, player-made skins and stuff, which could be cool. I'm sure it's going to be cool, but then they're also, we briefly mentioned, Genocide briefly mentioned it, they're finally adding graphical changes to the game, which I don't know how far they're going to go with this, but this stuff is like stuff before.
Better than what it was but it's one of those things of you're trying to make Minecraft look prettier. Why? There are better uses of resources than this.
I don't know. Well, the thing is, Genocide, people have been doing mods for this for a freaking game for years now. You could say the same thing to that. And the mods are like, why would you waste resources to this? I don't know. People freaking want to do that.
That's just people like doing their own thing because they feel like it. This is a freaking multi-billion-dollar company.
Well, the thing is, I would not be too surprised. There's nothing that says that Microsoft made that freaking graphical pack. I've seen graphical packs, I'm pretty sure, that look very similar to that already. They very well could just have it to where they're able to transfer stuff like that onto their console. Nothing saying Microsoft's making that. And even if it was, and even then, I'd imagine Mojang, if anything, would be making them and not Microsoft. I mean, yeah, the money
Microsoft
might go
owns them,
through.
though, so
Yeah,
it's still
I was about to say, like, yeah, the money might go
funds.
through from Microsoft, but, you know, still, you kind of get what I'm saying. But I'm sure there's plenty of those that exist that they could try to transfer or recreate for themselves and put on there. So, you know,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
still, like, a case of, why are we spending resources on this and not developing new shit?
I don't know. I mean, you could say the same
It's
thing
like
for...
back when, recently, when the game Two Worlds 2, a fucking game that is,
Oh, good lord.
what came out in, 2010, 2011? Recently
Probably.
added microtransactions.
Wait, you're saying
It's a question.
Two Worlds 2?
Yes, recently added microtransactions in their game.
This is on PC?
I believe, yes.
Because
To
if
the Steam
that's
version, I believe.
the Steve, okay. Good lord, they're still doing stuff with that?
Yes.
Good lord.
Once we get done with this, I will find the video and I will send you a link.
I have that game for the freaking 360. I've never touched it, but I have it.
I believe they have microtransactions on it on the 360 version, like, from longer ago, I think.
Holy crap! You're blowing my mind right now.
If I recall, they released an expansion for it on PC not too long ago.
I think I remember, like, the only thing I think I've heard of Two Worlds was I think they confirmed that they were going to be making a third game at some point, and I have no idea what happened to that.
3 Worlds 2 or 2 Worlds 3? Dum.
2 Worlds 3, how does this make any sense? But, yeah, that's crazy, but anyway.
Pretty much the games of the Microsoft conference that are at least any interesting.
Well, I still got more on this list here, but yeah, like...
There's shit. Cuphead looks good. Metro Exodus looks good. Hopefully Crackdown 3 is good. Forza is a fucking racing game. Stop jizzing your pants that it's going to be in 60 frames per second. That's the easiest goddamn thing for them to do. Player Unknown's Underground, a fucking PC port of a game that is literally sounds like another version of Rust. Who gives a shit? Fucking Minecraft 4K update. Sounds to me like you could have been using that funds to actually make new content updates for the game instead of just fucking putting in God raids, which people created mods for goddamn Fallout 4 just to remove. Why are they a thing that you feel the need to throw in everything? Developers, stop shoving your shit in our face like it's some really horny dick.
But yeah, you brought up the whole, in terms of this, the elephant in the room is the crossplay thing, which that's turning into more of a Disney.
I thought when you said elephant in the room, I thought that was the
We'll get to that here very soon because these other games on here I don't have really anything. But yeah, the crossplay thing.
Fucking up the damn crossplay because they gotta be retarded. It's like, oh, Nintendo, Microsoft, we're gonna have crossplay between the PC, Xbox, and Switch versions of Minecraft, which I am 100% okay and in favor of. Like, that needs to be a thing. Third party games have no reason to be sort of these locked
tied. Yeah. Now, all right. Now,
maybe the PC version's being separate. Okay, because at least for like first-person shooters and whatnot. But even then, it's like, is it really that much of a diff problem? Like, like
all
Call
right.
of Duty, for example. What's the fucking difference between Call of Duty Infinite Warfare on PS4 and Xbox and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare on PC? If you're not going to let these people use mods to increase the fucking field of view, it's the same goddamn game. There's no reason why shouldn't be compatible or shouldn't be able to play with them. Fucking Minecraft. Really? What's the goddamn difference?
Yeah, my stance on this was this happened with Sony, and Sony got backlash for it when Rocket League had the same freaking thing. And I didn't fret too much.
Did they not learn back then? Like,
yeah,
So dumb.
I didn't fret over it as much at that point. Well, I did disagree with the choice. I didn't fret because personally it doesn't affect me. Now, I'm not trying to be like selfish here or anything. I'm just saying it didn't necessarily affect me because I don't play Rocket League on a daily basis or anything. But I did agree that the fact is like, okay, I don't know why they did it because I don't even think Sony gave a statement to that. And apparently the developer of Rocket League has said that like, yeah, it's ready to go whenever Sony just says like we wouldn't need necessarily we could just activate it. But with this was the fact that I slowly found out about this because the thing is, they mentioned.
Did you hear Sony's excuse for why they're saying no
we'll get to that. There's a lot to this issue, but they, when they showed the trailer, this is like the first thing I think they showed with the micro trailer. This is when they walked out on stage afterwards and brought up all the other stuff. They brought up. Like, oh yeah, crossplay between all platforms, and they mentioned Xbox One, mobile, VR, and console. That's the specific word console. We knew that the Switch was going to be there because they showed it in the trailer, but yet, that's the weird thing. They can show it in the trailer and everybody knows what it is, but for some reason when they have to say console, because apparently I guess, you can't say our console's name in your conference, but you can show it at a Minecraft thing. And I was like, okay, console. Alright, let's see if this is freaking, cross-play with PS4. And then they did, if you went to their, I guess Minecraft's website or whatever, they showed, like, a whole thing talking about all this other stuff, how you're gonna have, like, the different servers and stuff like this. That's another thing, like, I guess bigger servers and stuff, but still. They mentioned the consoles, and they were like, oh yeah, Xbox One, Windows, stuff like that, Nintendo Switch, VR, mobile, I don't know if I already said that, but they mentioned all of them. The only one that was absent? PlayStation 4. And I was like, are you serious? And the thing that amplifies this for me is, this is a little more, I guess, closer to home for me, because granted, Minecraft is more recent is not necessarily a game I play a whole lot anymore, but it's still a game I will play. I own it. I own it on the 360 technically. I have it on the PS3. I have it on the Vita. I have it on the PS4. I have the game, and the thing is I don't know. The thing is on Sony's end. Is the fact that I was reading into this, and, well, I forget what said it, but in a way, what Sony is doing to this is, if they keep doing this, and it keeps ranking up in terms of how much it impacts stuff like this, you think people are pissed now? Wait till it stops blocking them from getting content for the games, because it's kind of what it's doing now. Because from what I read, the update that they're going to be doing for Minecraft, I don't know if it's going to be like something they do or if it's going to be a downloaded update or kind of both on both ends. But the thing is, there's certain things that are going to be added, like the crossplay is going to be implemented with the servers, like the increased servers and stuff like that. So that means, I'd imagine, unless there's some way that they can separate the two, if we don't get crossplay on PS4, we're not going to be getting the increased servers and stuff like that either. Which, that is the part that I'm worried about, because, I don't know, I'm not against crossplay. Before I say this, I'm not against it. But the thing is, depending on how it's actually utilized, because I don't know how, because I don't think we've really ever had it used enough to this point where we're getting into the time where we're getting it used on more stuff. Do you know how necessarily does it work? Is it just randomly take Xbox people and can randomly join, is it just like how random PS4 people in a game can join other random PS4 people? Or do you actually, is there like a friends list carryover or something? Because if there's a friends list carryover, then that would make more sense.
It's more than likely essentially, well, for Minecraft, it'd be more of finding server, join server, done.
Yeah, which is so random people, yeah.
Name attached to it. You can, like, each server probably gonna have a name attached to it. You can probably look up the server, easy enough to do, bing, bang, boom, done. For games like, we'll say, Call of Duty, Battlefield, your normal, like, multiplayer against random people sort of shit, it's probably gonna be more like Rocket League, where it's essentially just throws everyone into these matchmaking servers, and if you get, or like fucking War Thunder, it's like if you get into one with someone on a different system, well, it happens. They whoop.
So so it would basically be like a lot of games now are, but it's just the game has access.
Instead of having everyone separated into 3 sort of walled-off gardens, they're just in one big garden with everyone.
Yeah.
Actually, essentially fucking elongating the life of the game, because now you don't have 3 smaller sections, you have just one big section that's triple the fucking size.
Yeah. Now, the thing is with that is, I don't know. I can understand the purpose in it, but I also think it's kind of missing something. I think this is probably an impossibility. Was like if they were some friends list transfer, which granted that's assuming you own multiple platforms, which not everybody does. So I guess that's also a reason why they won't implement it. It kind of doesn't make as much sense, but I understand it widens the audience of the game and has more people getting. See, I don't know. Maybe I'm sure I'm missing the point here. It's just, I can understand why people would want it, but at the same time, it's like, what is the big benefit, necessarily? Like, I don't know. I know
Shadow, I will explain this to you very simply.
Alright, well, go ahead and explain it, because I know
Like, for Doom and Titanfall, if I want to find a match, when it first came out,
it makes it easier to find matches.
Now I'm gonna have to wait fucking at least a minute or 2, if not longer, to find a simple fucking match. Especially if I'm playing Doom and I'm looking for a mode that no one seems to be playing. Now, that's because I'm playing in a walled-off garden where only one third of the player base. I'm missing 2/3 of the other player base. This cuts down on the game's actual life expectancy drastically. Because each of these people, now, each of these thirds are going to be essentially getting bored quicker because they're going to have longer times getting to matches because they're only with a third of the people. If you had all 3 of these people, all 3 of these groups together, it'd be quicker to get into matches. People would be getting less frustrated because of how long it takes to get into matches. They'd be happier, they'd be playing the game longer, and if it's a game with microtransactions like, say, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Titanfall, they'd be more likely to spend that because they're happier with the game. You have them playing it more, spending more money, it's all good. And really, the only reason that it's not getting implemented is companies are douchebags, especially Sony right now. Like, they're being so fucking stupid. It's not something that's hard to implement.
No, it's not. Sony has said that themselves, because like I said, they didn't make a statement during Rocket League, I don't believe, or at least it wasn't significant enough that anybody brought it up, I guess. They brought up a statement for this, and you brought this up earlier, and I'm going to be paraphrasing it, but the thing is, they basically did say that one of their main concerns, and they said they are not against it either. As a matter of fact, they have done it in the past. They straight up said that. They've done it in the past. But the thing is, I know that people kind of basically said their explanation basically results to, oh, but think of the children. Yes, I can kind of, and I do see their legitimate point in that, but at the same time, it's also not a very good point. But the thing is, as well,
it's a really shitty point because of the fact that, as it is, you might run into these same shitty people on the PlayStation Network.
Yeah, exactly. That problem is not exclusive to one area; it's everywhere. But basically, what they said was the fact that it's something they have to take into consideration. See, this issue to me, I'll say this too. This is not necessarily. I don't see this as as black and white of an issue as it is, because I don't see a whole lot of situations, just in general. It's the way I look at things. Is I don't see a whole lot of issues as ever being necessarily black and white. I try to take everything into account. And the thing is with this situation is the fact that, yes, it's stupid that it's not a thing, because it's something that is easy to implement. Sony is, although they do seem like they're against it, they are in a sense also they're not against it in a way, because they've already done stuff like this in the past. But the thing is, from what their statement was, they were like, oh, we take the risk of bringing stuff that we won't be able to not monetize. I don't know if that's the right word, but monitor into kind of interacting with our network, and the same, but which I understand that is a relatively valid reason, but at the same time, there's another flip side to that also makes it a not so valid reason. And Phil Spencer said this himself.
It's not even a valid reason.
Yeah, Phil Spencer said
the fact that they've done it with PC before. It's like PC is when you're actually gonna more likely run into problems. Like fucking people are more likely to have mods and shit on PC because obviously that's where they fucking made the damn mods. So first of all, if you're worried about that, then you should be worried about PC, not Switch, not Xbox.
Yeah.
So on that front, it's bullshit. And on the front of, oh, we don't know what the people are going to be saying, have you listened to anyone on the fucking PlayStation Network? It's no goddamn different.
Yeah, I mean, look at us.
Literally every part of their excuse is some bullshit. It's literally, oh, we're doing better than them. We don't want to have our people playing with these plebs.
I'll get to that here in a second too, but
asinine bullshit.
Yeah, but that I should probably say not so much valid reasons, but I can at least understand from their, at least I guess say business or whatever. I understand it. Doesn't necessarily make it all around right or right at all. Now the other thing was the fact that people are very well throwing ego into this, and this seems like it could be a return to very ego-heavy Sony again.
It is, because honestly, every part of their statement was complete, and that they were talking out of their ass.
But the thing is,
the reason makes sense, even from a business. It's like every part of what they said is completely wrong and goes against shit that their own actions that they seem to want to bring up on their own. It's like, you want to say that, oh, we're okay with it in these instances, but the second that
so far you've shown no reason as to showing that you're okay with it.
It's like you want to say that you're okay with it, but the second that it comes to bringing in Sony and Microsoft, or not Sony, Nintendo and Microsoft, you're suddenly, oh, we can't allow those other things into the network. That is some grade A bullshit.
Yeah, but the thing is the fact that some people, you can call it egos, but the thing is, you also look from it from the point is they don't. I don't want to say they don't benefit from it, because you did bring up the points, like it increases the player base of the games. I don't know if it's so much ego. Well, the future will tell more with that if this continues to be a pressing issue. But the thing is, in some ways, Sony doesn't need to really do this. Doesn't make it right, but it also means that, like, they don't have a whole reason to do this per se. Which is, granted, like I said, you do something. The reason why Microsoft and Nintendo are doing this isn't because their businesses aren't doing well. It's because they want to do it. I'd imagine so, and they're not being. At least they're seeming that way anyway. But the thing is,
it's one of those things that it's not even that much work on the console company's side of things. It seems even more work on the developer getting permission to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, they don't have to do much.
Mm-hmm.
They pretty much just have to go, can do this with our systems.
Yeah.
And then Sony just doesn't want to give that okay because they're being that shittier version of Sony that thought that fucking $600 for the fucking PS3 was a good launch price.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's like I said, it's not as black and white as an issue. At least that's the way I see it. As people granted, you could say it with any issue. As one person will be on one side of it, and they'll make it seem black and white. But I don't think any issue is really all that black and white. But yes, I will say, if this continues to be a freaking thing, it's going to show.
Which I guarantee it will.
Yeah, the thing is with Sony is if Sony doesn't ever end up doing this for any of their games, regardless if they're still going to say the same reasons and they don't feel comfortable doing it, it's still going to show that seem like it's already starting now. It's going to make Sony look like they have egg on their face. Because it's like, Okay, Sony, you can say that, you can be as truthfully as you are with what your statements are, but your actions aren't going to be your actions aren't going to be reflecting that. Because literally, you have what's this? You have a list of 10 games that you could have had this with, and none of them are doing that yet. Like, what? There should have been at least one of these by now. But I don't know. I think Sony might turn it around once this starts starts blocking content in a way. Because, like I said, Minecraft, unless there's some way they change it around to where they add some of this stuff to the PS4 version, and some stuff is absent, which would still be unfortunate, but at least we're getting, not being blocked from all of it. That once that starts happening, people are going to be really freaking pissed, and Sony's going to be in a bad position still. So I don't know. I don't know. I want to say, why necessarily are they doing that? Even though we brought up multiple reasons. You can call it ego. You can call it, whatever other stuff we've just discussed. But it's it really, when you think of it, just let it happen, Sony. It's not. I mean, also apparently another thing I apparently did not know about this was the fact that on the Switch, at least with Minecraft, apparently, what you have to do is you have to log in to Xbox Live for that. Now I don't know if it shows the freaking X. Yeah, apparently on the Switch version you have to log in or do something with an Xbox Live account or something to connect them, which that could also be a reason why Sony's no, we ain't doing that.
Yeah, because things like ESO required in Final Fantasy XIV require you sign into another account.
Well, yeah, for a Square Enix account or whatever. Yeah, that stuff, but having another first-party company do that and not a third-party, but at the same time, I think they could get ways around that, just don't show the Xbox logo, or, make it a more generic-looking page or whatever, but I don't know. But, I don't know, time will tell if this issue continues to pursue. I mean, granted, I can't necessarily think of other games that may want to incorporate a cross-platform thing, but that's just the case. I'm sure a lot of them will probably want to, because it seems like it's catching on, regardless if, Sony is blocking it or not. But
majority of developers want this because it's going to cut their server costs down a lot by, instead of having to have these 3 separate walled gardens, having just one big one. Plus, especially with some of these AAA games with their microtransactions, having the player base interested longer is something they want, and they want a lot.
And they might be able to cut down on microtransactions in general because they won't have to probably put that money toward the servers.
See, they would be able to cut down, but at the same time,
some of those companies might not.
Some of those companies are going to be like Take-Two, where they think that they aren't monetizing their games enough.
I don't know about that, but anyway. Alright, so let's continue with the freaking last thing here, because I think we pretty much got that, and we need to continue on. But anyway, so next thing, let's see. Okay, there's nothing else on that one, alright. Another random thing that came out of Microsoft's conference that a lot of people were happy about is we're getting a 2D Dragon Ball fighter.
Yeah, I remember about that. That actually looks good, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, it looks very...
Maybe?
Yeah, it's very stylistic.
Fighting games.
Neither am I, but... Yeah, it looks cool. It looks very extreme, just like a Marvel vs. Capcom or something. It looks very extreme, as it should, but yeah, it looked fun. That's coming out next year, so people are happy about that. And it's been a while since I think the Dragon Ball has had a fighter of any kind, so...
Especially, well, really, has it really ever even had one like that? Because it seems to be more...
I think there's at least...
Marvel vs. Capcom type.
I would like to think that there has been at least one 2D fighter like that, but there's obviously been plenty of 3D.
They had 2D fighters, but at the same time, it's are they more simple ones, or are they the...
Well, that depends, because the thing is, there's not a whole lot of fighting games, I'd say, per se, that have been, full-on freaking eye candy, in freaking Marvel vs. Capcom is, because that's pretty much, they've been real kings of that. Like, Mortal Kombat doesn't have that many freaking colors and everything like that. I mean, I guess
the
maybe...
color of blood.
Yeah, it's got red, but maybe Street Fighter's kind of been like that. I think it's kind of in that area a little bit, but still not all that close. But yeah, I mean, it looks cool. It's Dragon Ball, so it's gonna, I think it's gonna deliver for what that. Another one was on here. I don't know if I think they spent like a brief few seconds on this, but I only put it on here because I love the graphical style. It's called The Last Night. And it's basically, it combines like pixel art and like real world type stuff. And it works really well. It's like real world environments, but like all the people and characters are like pixel art a little bit. But it looks really good. Like it fits together really well. I don't really know what it's necessarily about, but I believe it is an independent game, and it looks cool at the very least. So, I don't know, but I don't know if that's like an exclusive thing or not to Xbox, but whatever. Visually, it was nice to look at, so I just thought that was kind of interesting thing I saw on there. That's why I put it on here. I don't think it got a release date or anything, but it did look nice. Next thing, the big thing that they've been pushing for like past year or two now, Sea of Thieves. Okay, I mean,
like I said, it's made by Rare, but it's made by current Rare, so
yeah. Well, to be fair, this is like the first thing Rare has been given to work on other than Kinect stuff since, whenever the last freaking Kinect thing came out. Like, I think this is the first actual project they've had to work on since then. And it seems like it's, in terms of the company, is the biggest thing they probably worked on. But,
we'll have to remember one big thing. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why they got sent to that hell of working only on Kinect shit and avatars.
But, I mean, I don't know. There's,
And it's called Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts.
But, this is, I think, the most gameplay we've gotten from the game in general, and the way they were presenting it did have humor to it, which I don't think the other ones really had, so it was kind of alright, but I don't know, it looks, I don't know, I kind of liked it. I don't know about it, though. I'm not, like, hating it or anything, but it's just like, it is what it is, but yeah, that's apparently coming early next year, so it's finally going to be coming out. But yeah. And this is a small thing that you probably won't necessarily care about, and we'll see how it freaking works, but there's Microsoft has a freaking platformer on their console. We'll see how long this lasts. But
well, let's see if it actually comes out. I'm sorry, I'm still a little ticked with Microsoft for Scalebound.
No. But yeah, the super it's called Super Lucky's Tale, and apparently this is maybe a thing that's existed before in terms of like the series, or maybe it's something new. I don't know. It looks, I don't want to necessarily generic, but it kind of looks just like traditional platformer stuff. But Microsoft's kind of done this kind of stuff before, where like they'll try to like broaden their audience because they're still kind of seen as what they were marketing themselves as back in the original Xbox days, where they're like, yeah, we're more of a mature audience, even though Sony's kind of already been doing both what Nintendo and us have been doing. But I don't know. We'll see if it ends up going down the road where Microsoft tries to do a platformer or something, kind of broad their audience, and then it gets swept under the rug, and then like 10 years later, people look back and it's like, this game wasn't too bad. I know that firsthand. Freaking both of the games that I liked on the original Xbox were both in that position because they were out of the norm, and people weren't used to that on the Xbox because they wanted first-person shooters and violent games on there, and I was like, well, these are cool. But anyway, so That's coming November of 2018. Also, the other thing is, a lot of people were kind of making the comparison because all we saw was like an orange, like animal character jumping around the screen. There was like, is that Conker? It's like, nah, maybe. Just, I don't know. He kind of looked like him too because I think he even has like a blue shirt or something on it. It's like, okay. But yeah, that's apparently coming out November of next year, which is actually a while away, which is interesting. You brought this up earlier. We finally got a brief thing for Cuphead. We got a freaking release date for that. So that made a lot of people happy because we've been waiting for that for like 2-3 years now. But yeah, that's September 29th of this year, actually. So that's coming out semi-soon. Crackdown 3, that is coming out on November 27th of 2017. And that's also coming out this year, of course. So, yeah. I know. I think they've had that game for at least 2 years, maybe now. Because I know that was a game they were talking about when like the original base Xbox One was still the main thing. So they've had that game for a while, which is interesting. I'm not sure if this is the first E3 they've talked about it since, like a little while, a couple years back. But I don't know. But yeah, our last two things here was, this thing was cool for me to see as well, was they are adding original Xbox backwards compatibility to the Xbox One as well. So essentially you will be able to play every single freaking generation of Xbox games, pretty much, on one console now, which I know that this is something that they have talked about. It's been requested. They've mentioned before, but it's finally coming out. And let's see, yeah, it's coming late this year, so probably near the end of this year. Don't know if that will necessarily affect me too much because I already have both games that I would think about getting on the Xbox One, which I'm sure I will at some point, have already either gotten individual remasters or are part of compilations or whatever, so it doesn't really impact me, but still, it's cool. So at some point, I guess you could be able to take your original Xbox games, and if they still work and everything, you put them into an Xbox One, they'll freaking work. So, there you go. And Anthem, which we kind of brought up pretty much earlier, was, they didn't show it at EA's own conference, so they showed it here, was Anthem, and yeah, I liked what I saw. It looked pretty good. I mean, given the fact that we didn't get anything but a brief teaser at freaking EA's, and we saw stuff here, yeah, it looks pretty fun. I'll give it credit for one thing. It looks, like, visually, it looks freaking crazy. Because we've had numerous open world games, but I don't feel like I've seen an open world game, first of all, that looks on that scale. Like, we've seen, like, massive worlds, but I don't know if we've ever really had a whole lot of worlds that just seem like, because when you're going through, like, that giant jungle area, if there's any area you can actually stand, like, on the ground down there, you look up at any of those trees or whatever, those things are going to be massive. And usually we see those as, like, backgrounds or something in a game. Those are actually stuff you're going to be able to fly past. And everything looked like it had a good amount of detail to it as well, which is nuts. So I like the scale of everything. Looks really cool. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Would I get it? Who knows? But I mean, yeah, it looked pretty good. I like the scale of everything, and it's coming out some point next year, which, who knows, it might get delayed, I don't know. But yeah, there's still one thing we haven't talked about, and it's another big thing, but we'll see how long this freaking lasts. But we gotta get out of the way. The big thing that was focused on this entire conference, reason why they were bringing up 4K, the reason why they were bringing up 60 frames per second.
Xbox One X has a stupid fucking name. It's kind of pointless because even Pedro, who actually was there and got to out the damn shit, said it's hard, if not impossible, to tell the difference visually just by looking at the difference between a game being played on the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro. Why? Because no company is going to take the time to create a PS4 version, an Xbox One version, a PS4 Pro version, and a specially made Xbox One X 4K version. It's not going to happen, especially if they also have a Switch version and a PC version of 6 different versions of the game, radically increasing the production costs. No one's going to fucking do that. The Xbox One X, for what you're getting, it's a good deal, but it's going to be radically underused, and overall, it's not going to serve much of a point. And due to the horrible naming convention that is the Xbox One X, due to how similar it is to the Xbox One S, it may suffer the same similar issue as the Wii U did with the Wii. Now, fuck this whole conference. We have spent enough time on this. Moving on, Ubisoft.
Okay, calm down. Good
Lord.
lord.
We're not going over the same shit 5 times again, boy.
Here's my 2 cents. I don't like these mid-generation refreshes. At this point, if this is how they're going to be, it's pointless. they're just worthless. But anyway, this is why Genocide wanted to get to frickin' what was next, because this is the conference that had the most stuff that made him happy. But yeah, next one.
I forgot about Bethesda's.
How dare you? How dare you rush me like that and not have me throw in more freaking stuff when you forgot the one conference that gave you all the stuff that made you happy? Good luck. I'm going to talk about the Xbox One X again. Screw you.
Well, anyway, I will come over and whoop your ass so hard my fucking penis falls off.
Why that? I think other parts at that point, if you're doing that, your other parts of your body are going to be falling off of that, right? But anyway, so...
You see, that's because he ain't doing it right.
But yeah, so next conference is Bethesda's, which... I'm pretty sure last year's was the first one I even saw of Bethesda's conferences. I didn't even know Bethesda was doing conferences last year, but
overall.
This is their third one.
This is the one that pissed people off because they don't know how to fucking listen to what Bethesda says beforehand.
Yeah, so the first 2 things they talked about, they started the whole thing. Also, I'll say this right now, is the fact that they pulled a Sony last year, but even to a greater extent, because instead of just having, like, what Sony did last year, where they had, like, 3 overall people come out on stage, and only one of them showed up twice or maybe 3 times, this time they only had one dude. Yeah, they had one dude show out at the beginning of it, and then nothing else for the entire time, and then the end, and that was it. One person, 2 times at the beginning of the end, nothing else. But
the overall presentation of the conference was really nice.
Yeah, the whole Bethesda Land thing was pretty cool to see. I mean, anytime you can have freaking stuff all the way from, like, Elder Scrolls to Doom to Quake in a style like that, it's always just like, okay, that's interesting.
It's like a very neat idea, and I hope they do more of that in the future. I was just going to smack right down. Trying to do a boss fight while doing this, not my brightest idea.
But
I should not have chosen this level.
The first 2 things they talked about, they got VR out of the way, and we have Fallout VR, which we already knew about from, last year. But we have a Doom VR game coming out. We have a Doom VR game coming out. Which...
They showed it with the HTC Vive, I believe that was?
It may be, but it is coming to PlayStation VR, because it's on PlayStation Store. Yeah, it's coming to Play... It has to be coming... It has to be coming to PlayStation VR because it's shown on PlayStation Store.
Bullshit. I'm looking. No, I'm going away from the game for 2 minutes.
I'm sorry, people. I've convinced the ginger to look what you could have looked it up on your phone.
No. I need to see this on the store for myself.
You could get the store on your phone if you even have the default PlayStation.
Dangerous is coming to the PS4.
What?
That's interesting. Elite Dangerous. It's another like space game. Son of a bitch. Knack 2? What the fuck is this doing here? Get the fuck off my screen. So Doom VFR, it looks neat. Yeah, it's obviously just a VR title, but It's Doom. It'd make my pee-pee hard. And it requires PlayStation Move, PlayStation VR, and PlayStation Camera. Holy shit.
But yeah, we didn't get a whole lot from it, but it looks like Doom, and that's probably all you're gonna need anyway, so.
And we know the F stands for fucking.
Yeah, probably. But the thing is also, they didn't give release dates for either of them, but due to the fact that they pretty much said at the end of their conference that everything that they showed here was coming out sometime this year, I'd imagine it's probably going to be both the Fallout and the Doom VR is going to be coming out some point by the end of this year. So.
Well, we know what I'm buying. God damn it! If it wasn't going to be Neptunia that got me to buy a VR headset,
it was freaking Doom. Oh man. But anyway. Oh good lord, but yeah, Doom VR seems, I don't know, Fallout VR, the way they showed it, seems like it's going to be more legit, like walking around, which I think is what they were wanting to try to do with it. Doom seemed like it was more snapping to all the different areas.
It's the more typical teleporting VR.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with, just because I want to kill more demons. I want more action in the Duke-style 2016 Doom.
Yeah, and plus, with a fast-paced game like Doom, it would probably cause people to get freaking headaches and crap, as fast-paced as it is, because you know, freaking Fallout is not fast-paced by any means. So,
no.
You know. But, yeah, we'll see how those end up working out. But yeah, it seems like they're coming on probably every single thing that has VR. I mean, I haven't seen anything for Fallout VR on PlayStation Store, but I guess they probably, the fact that Doom VR is at least on pre-order for the PlayStation Store might suggest that that's probably going to be the first one to come out, which could make sense considering that might be an easier development process than Fallout, because Fallout would probably require more, because it's like legit walking around, it seems, where Doom's just like snapping to the different areas. But yeah, so, alright, the other thing they entered, hold on, is this the next thing yeah, okay. So, this was
they showed the freaking Elder Scrolls Legends card game.
Yeah, that's the other thing I have after this, which don't really have anything to say about that. I don't know if they gave a release, I think they did give a release date for the thing that they did, but I don't have it on here. I don't think I ever added that, if it was even given, but, so they gave, they announced a thing called Creation Club, which I guess is essentially
paid mods.
Yeah, it's just, I think, essentially paid mods. And I have the stuff I have is going to add new content for Skyrim. It's going to be for Skyrim and Fallout 4. So basically, the Skyrim you're most likely already playing on the PS4 and the Xbox One and such are going to have mods for Skyrim and Fallout 4, you know, such normal stuff such as like weapons and armor and gameplay enhancements, stuff like that, for the games. And there's going to be credits that are used for purchases in the downloads. You're going to browse in-game content by different categories and such, probably how you kind of do it now. The content's going to be provided by Bethesda themselves, outside developers, as well as some of the community creators, which, you know, good. All of the content will be compatible with all the game saves, any achievements, and any of the DLC that they officially release. And it's going to be it's going to be launching summer of 2017 for pretty much every platform, for the PS4, Xbox One, and the PC. So it is like legit just paid mods to an extent.
Pretty much.
Yeah. All right. Well,
y'all better fucking tread lightly.
Yeah, because
otherwise the community is gonna wring your damn neck.
Yeah, because Bethesda, I think, has already tried this before, and they got slack for it, from what I heard.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the thing was the fact that they just mentioned the credits. They didn't mention money or anything. That may have changed by now, but, yeah, it's like, how are you going to
get the credits?
Well, I was about to say, it's like, the big thing is, how are we going to get the credits, Bethesda? But, yeah, so, I don't know, that seems kind of, like, okay. whatever, but yeah, we'll see how that plays out. But then there's the Elder Scrolls Legends. They're doing a Heroes of Skyrim thing. Alright, whatever. It's a mobile game. I don't personally care too much about that, but and then we got another Skyrim thing. It was Skyrim on Switch, and we got revealed that it is going to have amiibo support, and you can have Link in your freaking Skyrim game.
That's the version of Skyrim I'm gonna be buying.
But yeah, you can have
the Master Sword.
Yeah, you can use the Master Sword in your Skyrim game now. Which the thing is, I know people have said that, oh, you're probably already mods for that. Yeah, but on console, you're not going to be able to get away with that. And if anything, there you go. Frickin' Switch did it officially themselves.
And fuck you and your mods. I can't walk outside my house and play Skyrim with mods.
Now,
which I can.
I don't know if you know this, or I don't know if they've said this, but is the version of Skyrim that's on the Switch, is it going to be the special edition, or is it just going to be another version?
No.
Because
I do.
Yeah, because depending, who knows? Who's to say that they can't just go ahead and say, okay, this isn't the special edition in terms of graphics entirely, but we're still going to add mods to it. Freaking mods for the freaking Nintendo Switch version. But anyway, but yeah, they're going to have amiibo support for that, and they're going to have motion controller support as well, as they showed in there, which you could say, like, how practical is that going to be? I don't know. Some controls like that are more conventional than others. They actually work better, but you probably won't be doing that for very long, but still. But that's pretty much all they showed. I don't think they gave like a release date or anything, so they're still, don't know too much about that, but we do know that you're going to be able to freaking use the Link outfit and the freaking Master Sword in the game, so there you go. But, yeah, that's pretty much it for that. It's kind of neat to see that there. We got a standalone expansion thing for Dishonored. Coming out on September 15th of this year. It's Dishonored Death of the Outsider, and yeah, I mean, I played the trial that they had for Dishonored 2, maybe a couple months back. I had fun with it. I think it was also partly because at that time I didn't have really anything new to play necessarily, because I don't get games constantly. And it was just kind of nice to see and kind of play something different after a while. I think that was also the time I was spending a bunch of time on my Vita. This is probably it too. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was a CG trailer, I think. It looked fine. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, it is a standalone thing, so I could buy it if I wanted to. It's going to be like, I think, $30, $40 or something, but I don't know. It's Dishonored, and, if you like Dishonored, then that's probably something you're going to be interested in. But yeah, September 15th of this year for that. Next thing, Quake Champions. I actually don't have anything put on here for that, because they didn't give a release date, and they didn't say, basically, they're just really pushing it as an esports type thing, which, okay, that's all fine and good, but I don't necessarily care for that. But it is cool that, they're bringing Quake back as well. I mean, they pretty much...
I wouldn't mind seeing a console version of it, but you know what? I'll live without it. I have another console version of Quake on a much older console. Damn it, now I want to play that, but I'm fucking stuck playing this because I decided to do the live way of doing this. Fuck.
But anyway, they just kind of did a trailer of esports and stuff. And another thing, Genocide, you said they're adding they have a Wolfenstein character in this?
Yeah, they have BJ Blazkowicz in the new Quake. And now, like, old style BJ, like new style, dual wielding the assault rifles from, I believe those were the New Order ones.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, there's that, so, I don't know. They did at least...
opportunity on their part, though, like, honestly. With the new one coming out, you think you could, give them weapons from that one? Better marketing tool.
But, so they did show Quake Champions again, which was, that was nice, I guess. Alright, we're near the end of the Bethesda. So, then they showed, this was their 2 new reveals, because everything was also either stuff that they talked about before, or stuff from, series as they've already done stuff with recently. Evil Within 2 is happening.
These 2 last reveals are probably what pissed people off. The fact that there was no Elder Scrolls, which they shouldn't. Because
they've said that that's way far off. See, that's the thing too. A few of the things I was watching for the E3 stuff, they're like, oh, there should be a new Elder Scrolls. No, there ain't. They freaking said that is years away, and even then, if it was anytime soon, it's not going to be, even if it wasn't their decision, Elder Scrolls Online is going to be a priority for at least the next couple years, because they ever since Morrowind expansion came out, they already announced 2 more expansions coming out. I think one's coming out by the end of this year, and one's coming out sometime next year. They're not going to stop it anytime soon. Calm down, people. And it's not like it's not like they're going to be making one that fast anyway. So it's and I'm sure they're working on it in some way, shape, or form, but it's no, you're not going to get you're not going to get a new Elder Scrolls announcement this year, and you didn't get one, and you're probably not going to get one next year. You may get a tease, if anything, but probably not anything, really. So, I don't know, just because, I know Elder Scrolls and Bethesda are associated with each other, but you're not going to. And it's probably why they're freaking releasing, Skyrim a bit more, because it's everybody's oh, it's freaking Elder Scrolls. It's okay, shut up. Here, have your freaking new version of Skyrim. But, anyway, so, yeah, the Evil Within 2, because, I mean, that, I was trying to think of, before Bethesda's conference started, I was trying to think of, what stuff could they do? Because I didn't see a new Doom happening, because it's way too soon.
Which we were slightly wrong about.
Well, yeah, to an extent. I mean, we did kind of get something, but I figured we would get the new Wolfenstein, which we did, and we'll talk about that next. We got the new Wolfenstein, which was teased last year, but I was trying to think. I don't think we'd get anything Fallout related, and we kind of did and didn't because we already knew Fallout VR was happening last year.
And whatnot. Oh, and that too.
Yeah, we already had Fallout VR, but that was announced last year, so that wasn't even necessarily new. I didn't think they're well, it's been a decent amount, because believe it or not, Fallout 4 came out in 2015, which is kind of crazy to think about, but it's I didn't know how well, that might have been still too soon for a Fallout. So I was just trying to think, and then I think eventually I was oh yeah, they can maybe do another Evil Within or something like that, but it's I didn't know how much they could really do that was new necessarily because they already kind of did a lot last year with their franchises. But yeah, Evil Within 2 is a thing. Genocide's happy about that, or at least interested about it. But
I like the first Evil Within, so I'm definitely picking up this new one. Although the first Evil Within took me months to finish. I'm not all that great at games like Evil Within.
Yeah, Evil Within was a game for some reason, was oh, this might be kind of neat, but I never ended up getting it, but it was just I don't know. But, yeah, they're doing a second one, considering it's been a year or two since the first one came out, and the first one was somewhat earlier PS4 and Xbox One game, so they're doing another one, and it's coming out on Friday, October 13th, or Friday the 13th of this year. And, yeah, seems like it'll probably, another scary game for people to play. And then the big thing they left us off with was Wolfenstein 2, the New Colossus.
Boner. And also made me want to kick Artie's ass because it's all the same. Is this new Fallout? I swear I'm gonna smack you so hard I fucking break your nose. It looks like the Elder Scrolls. It's fucking Wolfenstein, you goddamn non-geriatric fuck.
Is it a slider?
Can I eat this? Can I eat this in a gray face?
Is that what that cat-looking thing's playing with? But anyway.
But yeah,
oh my god, though, I was so fucking hyped. Like, the fact that we're going back to Nazi-controlled United States in the 1960s. Oh my god. And I'm sorry, one scene of that, one little, like, touch in that trailer just made me go, oh, I can't wait. The fact that it doesn't seem like too much has changed. Like, come on, we still got KKK dudes walking around. It's like, I'm gonna get to kill Nazis. I'm probably gonna get to kill a few KKK dudes, which I don't care about as much as I care about killing the Nazis. But you know what? If I have to shoot a few of them to
reasons,
mix it up for a moment. Like, if I have to shoot a few of them, I'll take it because I get to mix it up for a moment. At least it gives me something else to shoot other than more Nazis, even though I'm okay with killing more Nazis. The fact that we're seeing the power suit from Wolfenstein The New Order again and seem to be able to use it at some point in the game. New weapons. Fucking... Oh my god, I am so psyched.
Yeah,
Although I still have one major question. How the fuck did BJ tank a nuke to the face?
But yeah, having not seen like a whole lot of Wolfenstein: The New Order around the time it was coming out, because that was like a launched essentially PS4 and Xbox One game. I knew it was,
like early to mid 2014.
Yeah, it was an early game.
God damn it, I want to play that too. I want to shoot more future Nazis.
And
future for Nazi time, past for our time. God damn it.
Yeah, but I was, I knew that game was being like, oh, it's like, what if the Nazis what if they actually did win and everything, and it was an alternative time type of thing, and it was like, okay, that sounds kind of interesting. And then this being the first like legit thing I've seen from the current Wolfenstein, I was like, all right, it's pretty cool. It's freaking. Then they just go. I mean, yeah, the thing is, I don't know if I call it a complaint, but one thing that people were just saying is like, holy crap, this trailer is all over the place, and it is. It's like 8 minutes of a trailer, and it's all over the place.
What's beautiful about it, honestly, like.
Yeah, you go from.
What I loved about Wolfenstein: The New Order was just how crazily varied some of the locations could be. Like, oh, we're in a prison, now we're in a concentration camp, now we're in a hospital, and now we're on the fucking moon.
But yeah, I mean, you go from
just like, it's like all of a sudden, I'm attacking these dudes on a bridge, and now I'm on the moon. Huh.
I mean, you go from the beginning of the trailer, which is just like, that time period, like television stuff, from like either cartoon animation to freaking game shows and stuff. And then you go to a brief thing where, you have the main character. What was his name again?
BJ Blazkowicz.
Alright, you have BJ from the first game. He's waking up, he's all cut up and everything. He's like, what the crap is going on? Then his wife, I guess, comes in, and he's like, okay, you're pregnant. And then they have the place getting freaking broke into. And then there's this whole stuff going on about him trying to get people to join like a resistance group or whatever. Then the trailer just freaking goes all crazy with freaking like shotgun going down a hallway, killing tons of the freaking Nazis. Freaking gets an axe and stabs freaking gets this one guy. Then you have as the man that stepped out on stage at the end said, this game is crazy, like I said, and, it's a game where you have a pregnant lady with twins stabbing a Nazi while a guy up front's freaking tripping on acid. It's like, that's what it was. I will say one thing, that freaking, like, little, like, lizard or chameleon looking thing they had at the end of the trailer, that is so, like, from a visual standpoint, that is so cool how they did that. Like, how did they do that? Like, they had a legit 2D, like, cartoon
character interacting with, like, moving around in, like, an actual realistic environment, and it worked just fine. And the freaking thing was, like, adorable. It was moving around and everything. It's like, okay, that's cool. But yeah, that's coming out October 27th of 2017, so pretty much
and that's what I'll be doing on that day.
Yeah, and the same freaking month with Evil Within and some other stuff, but it's like, yeah, I mean...
On the same fucking day as Assassin's Creed and Mario.
but yeah, that's pretty much Bethesda's conference. I don't know, I thought theirs was pretty good last year. This one, I didn't think it was bad. I mean, definitely appealed to Genocide the most, but, it's just... I don't know. I thought it was
their first one appealed to me a whole shit ton. Their second one, it wasn't really my cup of tea so much, just because it focused more like on Elder Scrolls and more fantasy stuff, and obviously like bringing mods and whatnot.
Yeah.
Not really using my cup of tea. Yeah. And this one's like, Doom VR, Quake, Wolfenstein. This was so far up my alley.
Yeah, it's just like, what? A Doom VR, a Quake game, Evil Within 2, Wolfenstein, holy crap. This is my year.
Well, a lot of people got pissed off at the conference because they're like, oh, there's nothing in it. But in reality, there's a good amount in it. And that good amount made me very happy.
But, yeah, there was good stuff, I think, but... I think they did fine. But, yeah, I guess we'll go on to freaking Ubisoft. Mario and Rabbids are crossing over. It's a thing. Deal with it.
That was honestly, I'm so okay with that game.
Yeah. Yeah, I from not being a person, not knowing really anything about the Rabbids other than people hate them, is the fact that, I don't know, from being the first, like, full-on, like, exposure to the Rabbids, seeing them, I don't know, man, I'm digging the humor there. Like, I'm digging the visual humor with them messing with the freaking Mario, stuff in the Mario world. I don't know, it looks cool. And the fact that it's a freaking, like, XCOM game is kind of like, okay. It's like a freaking XCOM strategy RPG, which is... Hey, freaking Miyamoto jumped on stage too, and he was like, hey, don't make this like a Mario platformer. Do something that's never been done with this series before, and it's like, okay, freaking XCOM strategy RPG, go do it. We're gonna be working on this for like 3 years. But yeah, I don't know, that I liked the humor that they were having there. Graphically, it does look really nice, but it's not that hard to do with a style game like this. But still, that's not to go against the game. That's just complimenting it, I think. And it's coming out in August 29th of 2017, so it's coming out here soon, which is interesting considering, like they said, this game's been in development for like 3 or so years now, which is kind of interesting that we only got leaks about it like earlier this year, I think. But yeah, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, it's a thing, and it's going to be exclusive to the Switch. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of liked what I saw though. It's kind of interesting. They showed a little bit of Assassin's Creed Origins, but considering they pretty much did the reveal at Microsoft, they did show, I think, different stuff, but, they already showed gameplay at Microsoft as well, so it's like they didn't really do anything other than bring the dude out, bring a guy out on stage. They're like, oh yeah, it's coming out this date and everything, and it's like, alright, bye. It's like, alright. So, nothing really new there. It's Assassin's Creed Origins. Next thing, it's the same, we mentioned the release date earlier, that's like October 27th or whatever. Let me get back on the thing here. Another crew game, which we already knew. That's another thing I'll say too, is the fact that Ubisoft kind of blew their load before E3 to an extent, because Ubisoft before E3 even was relatively close to starting, they announced 3 huge games. Like, they confirmed that Assassin's Creed was being worked on. They didn't give a title. They announced the Crew 2, but I don't think gave any information on. And the one they gave the most information on was Far Cry 5. And it's like, why are you doing that? Wait till E3. It's like in a couple weeks. What do you get out of, like, announcing it now? Like, why? It's like, I don't understand. And that was happening, I think, with a few companies. It's like, why are you freaking announcing crap now? Your conferences are already before E3 technically starts anyway, and you're announcing stuff. What are you announcing stuff now before your conferences even? Like, goodness, people.
We don't need to worry about the game getting leaked if we don't have the game getting revealed at the E3s, because the strongmans.
If you can't, the game can't get leaked if we leak it ourselves.
Exactly.
It's like, I don't know. It seems weird. But yeah, Crew 2, I don't know what the Crew is even necessarily about, but in this one, it's a guy that's pretty much trying to master all forms of freaking vehicles, from boats to planes to cars to whatever else. But I don't know, it's something, I guess. It's yeah, I mean, I can't say too much. I don't think they have a release date or anything, at least not that I have on here. It might be coming out this year, I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe, because the first one I don't think was really well received, so we'll see how this one turns out, but I mean, I don't know, can't really say too much about it. But, I guess with all that said, I guess we'll move on to the next one. Is they did show, South Park again, the Fractured Butthole, they showed that again. They didn't do, like, a brief gameplay thing like they did, like, last year or whatever, so in this game, I think, would have been out for a decent amount of time if it stuck to the original release date. It's been delayed, like, 1 or 2 times already, but, I'm pretty sure it did get a new release date.
Yeah, like somewhere in October, I think.
Yeah, I don't actually have it written down here, but yeah, they did have, a release date, which I'm not sure if we knew before. I don't think we did, but regardless, they did show it here.
They announced the release date a little bit ago.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's still a thing coming out, so it's not like it's been canceled or anything, so it's still there. Can't really say too much about that, but it's been there for, like, past 2 years, though? I don't know. But, didn't spend too much time on it, which I think is appropriate. People already know about it. It's coming out when it comes out. Then there was a VR game or something, I think. It's called Transparence, and it has Elijah Wood involved with it, and it was weird. I don't know what it's supposed to be necessarily, but I don't know. The trailer was weird. And apparently Elijah Wood is like a producer or something on it, and it's like, okay, this is all right. You got Spyro involved with your thing. For all people that freaking remember that. But anyway, the only reason I say that is because he voiced him. However, like freaking years ago at this point. But anyway, yeah, apparently that game's coming out spring of next year. I think it's a VR thing. I'm not entirely sure. I forget exactly, but it was weird. But yeah, the next thing, we have a new IP from Ubisoft, and basically they said, hey, take that pirate stuff from Assassin's Creed 4 and make it a game like people want. And yeah, that's what we're getting. We're getting a Ubisoft pirate game. So, yeah, I mean, I think that will be fine. I mean, people were kind of asking for it because that was like the biggest thing in Assassin's Creed 4 for people that people really liked about it. Plus the fact that some people I think have said that that's pretty much like the biggest change that Assassin's Creed has had in any of the games. So yeah, screw it, make an own game. So yeah, Skull and Bones is their new, I imagine, franchise, and that's coming out fall of next year, so it's a good amount of time away. But yeah, and then next we have the obligatory Just Dance segment, which they got over pretty quick. But
every year, like we know it's coming. Every time it's just like, what just happened? There was ninjas dancing around a panda.
Yeah, there's like a freaking ninja panda and everything. But
it's the only thing I have written for this was the fact that they are still releasing these games for the original Wii. Not Wii U, that too, but they're still releasing these for the original Wii.
Bullshit.
No, it's literally...
I haven't even done anything in the game for like the past 30 minutes because I've been looking shit up and looking at memes. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. Literally, it's on every freaking console that's existed within the past, like, decade. It's on Wii, Wii U, the Switch, the 360, the PS3, the Xbox One, the PS4. Like, literally, it's on every...
I need to be looking at 2018, not 2017.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I was wondering, like, where do you go to buy that copy of the game? Like, I doubt that's at Walmart anymore. Like, do you have to order it off Ubisoft's website or something? Like, holy crap! Like, when the head of Ubisoft or whoever, I'm not sure what that guy's name is, but whenever you stand on stage, and he was talking about the Mario and Rabbids thing and how we have a good standing relationship with Nintendo, heck, he wasn't kidding. Freaking, they're still releasing for their previous console. Like, they're still releasing for, like, 2 consoles back. Like, yeah, they're freaking supporting Nintendo. Good lord. Freaking original Wii and the Wii U. It's like... And the PS3 and the 360, but it's still more shocking to me that the original Wii still is getting those games, because PS3 and 360 were relevant for longer than that was, because Nintendo moved on. Granted, it wasn't too long before this generation started, but still, it's like, holy crap. I'm just curious, like, where do you go to buy that copy of the game? It's probably going to be a bit buying a Wii U version, but you can probably have a chance of finding that in a place like a Walmart or something. But, like, where do you go to buy an original Wii game? Oh my gosh, but, I mean, it's not surprising in terms of, I mean, there's not a whole lot of, performance power you need for those games. And plus, they'll probably just downgrade the graphics as much as they need to. I mean, I guess it's not as surprising as it making it seem, because the freaking PS2 was still getting sports games until the PS4 came out. So, I mean, I guess it's not too surprising, but still.
What the fuck?
What, you find it?
Platforms: Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Wii U, Wii. Oh my...
I told you! I just spent the past, 2 minutes telling you!
That's not even on Wikipedia. Like, I was like, okay, if it's Wikipedia, maybe there's some sort of, little...
Where'd you find it? Was it on their website or something?
This is on Ubisoft's actual site.
Yeah, like I said, that's probably the only place they would tell you. That's probably where you have to, is there a buy option for that, or a pre-order option for the Wii? Because I can't imagine, like I said, I can't imagine you could go to a Walmart and buy Just Dance 2018 for the Wii. I don't see Walmart or whatever freaking retail store stocking that anymore. Like, it'll be bad enough with the Wii U, so you might have to order it through freaking Ubisoft or something. Like, I don't know. But yeah, that's just a baffling thing, but... yeah, that's... Yeah, I don't even know if they ever... I don't think they gave that a... Well, I think the one chick that was singing on stage was said that. It might be in October, I don't freaking know, but... Yeah, I don't know. But... Yeah, so... they got it over with relatively quick, and it wasn't too bad anyway, but... Yeah. So, next one, they announced a mobile game. We're getting a South Park mobile game. And that's coming out sometime this year. It just says coming 2017, so... Yeah, we're getting a South Park mobile game, so... Yeah. Which is, people pointing out, well, South Park made fun of mobile games, and now they have a mobile game, so it's like, oh, okay. It's freaking hypocritical. But, yeah, that one seemed... I think it was an RPG type thing or something. I'm not too sure, but I don't know. It's South Park, and you're going to have a game of South Park on your phone, so there's that. So, you know what? You might be getting the freaking mobile game before we get the actual console game, but yeah. But anyway, so, I guess, next, Starlink Battle for Atlas, which I believe that this is the game that looks like it's kind of trying to play up the whole Amiibo, Skylanders, and,
that now canceled Disney Infinity thing of putting freaking figures on something and having them be put in a game. Because this thing doesn't even have like its own stand or anything like those do. It has a weird thing that straps onto your controller, and it's not just for like the Switch either. It's for the Xbox One, the Switch, and the PS4 controller, which I don't know how well that would work for the Xbox One, considering there's more stuff up the top as opposed to like the giant touchpad that's on the PS4, or how flat the Switch controller is. But it's like, apparently they're not required for the game, I guess, unless somebody was misunderstood that. And if they're not required for the game, then why have them? Yeah, these things are successful and people get this freaking melts people of their money for this stuff, but it's because you kind of need them to an extent. If you're not going to need them, then you really expect people to freaking try to milk people of their money when there's something to strap on the controller that doesn't actually need to be there? It's like, I don't know, it's like a space type, maybe sci-fi kind of thing, I don't know, but it's like, okay, whatever. But yeah, that's coming out fall of next year, so alright, yeah, you get to freaking put things on your controller. I don't know. But next is Steep expansion. That's basically just a Road to the Olympics thing, so they probably paid a bunch of freaking money to get the Olympic stuff in here, but that's coming out December 5th. Yeah, so you get to be doing a bunch of different, like, snowboard and stuff like that for Olympic stuff, I guess. It's alright. It's also not really for me, but, they are releasing DLC for Steep. And then the last two things here are these relatively big stuff. Far Cry 5, they showed actual gameplay of, so they already freaking they already announced it, and they showed the reveal trailer for freaking, however, like a couple weeks before freaking E3 even started. The gameplay, yeah, I mean, it looks like Far Cry and everything. It was a fun little trailer that they played. There's a bunch of different people you can hire, like AI partners you can hire, and you can also have cooperative, like actual cooperative people to hire and everything. So, I don't know, it does seem like a fun game the way the trailer was making it seem. It looked pretty crazy, and it looked more violent than some of the other stuff I've seen for Far Cry. Maybe I haven't seen enough, but like there's a one part where there's some sort of like freaking like farm vehicle, and the dude runs the guy over with it, like blood legit, like this goes everywhere. It's like, holy crap! I'm not used to that in Far Cry. I mean, Far Cry is like violent, but usually it's not like that levels of like, oh yeah, freaking blood just goes everywhere. It's like, okay, what kind of freaking farm utility vehicle was that? But I don't know. It looked like a fun trailer and everything. So yeah, it's another Far Cry. It's dealing with a cult. So there you go. I don't think they gave a release date for that either. I don't know if it has one, but I don't have one written here. It might be coming up by the end of this next year, or this year, or neither, sometime next year. But and then the big thing that they finally showed after however like 10 or so years, they showed off Beyond Good and Evil 2, which is something I've heard that people wanted, but I don't necessarily care too much about. I don't even know. I mean, I technically own the HD version on the PS3 and everything. I've never played it, but that's probably so far back on my download list on PS3. I have no idea. It was so long ago that I got that for free. But I don't know, the trailer looked, visually it did look nice, because, I mean, it was a CG cinematic trailer and everything, but yeah, I don't know how long they've necessarily been working on this, but it's definitely been a long time. They showed a, like, trailer, like, a couple years ago that was released, and it didn't go anywhere. And it seems like this game, from what we've seen, it's gotten a rehaul since then, or overhaul since then. And I think some leaks for the game might have come out too since then, which maybe also kind of led them to kind of overhauling it a little bit more. It's a prequel, which I'm not too sure what the consensus is about that. Whether people like that or not, or if they just would still, because apparently like the first game ended with stuff that people wanted a sequel to solve, and prequel probably is not going to be able to do that, at least not very straightforward. But yeah, I don't know, that was a big announcement for a lot of people. A lot of people were emotional if that finally got released, and the people they had out on stage were getting pretty emotional too. So yeah, that's one thing is Ubisoft as well, and I guess this goes into the closing thing because that's pretty much all the notes I have. But Ubisoft does kind of show, at least, regardless of what you think of their conferences, they do seem like they do at least show a human side to them, which, that's another thing, going back to Bethesda, was that's how Bethesda opened their conference, was with frickin' the developers' kids and everything. And they're just, in an industry where this industry can be very harsh, whether, it's justified or not, it can be very critical. Trying to humanize these companies when they can easily seem like very, just we want your money, as they are. It is nice that they some of them try to be more humanized, regardless, especially with Ubisoft, because a lot of people do not like Ubisoft, but they still do try to show a human side, and I think that's a good thing to do. But, yeah, Ubisoft's, at least this year, didn't put me to sleep, because theirs last year was pretty freaking long. Like, I don't know, that seemed just like that one went on forever. This one, just went by faster for me. I don't know if that's just my perception of time this year or not, but it's just, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't because last year, halfway through, I was just like, okay, is Sony's gonna start? But Jessad, you okay there? Okay. Anyway, so Sony. Okay, so yeah, well, okay, we got like Nintendo's afterwards, but so yeah, Sony's is. I don't know. This kind of goes into the whole thing of E3 in general, where for a lot of people, E3 this year was kind of eh. Like there was no real big announcement, and there wasn't. It was just kind of like middle of the road, I guess. And Sony's was kind of the same way to an extent, because they didn't really announce anything all that new. There you are. I'm talking about Sony. Anyway, yeah, they didn't announce anything all that new. A few things they kind of revealed, and yeah, but they started off similar to last year. They didn't have an orchestra this year, but they had something kind of similar on a smaller scale, and that led them into probably the last good look we'll probably get at the Uncharted The Lost Legacy standalone thing. They showed a bit more story stuff for that, and it looks fine. Still coming out on August 22nd, I think. Yeah, 22nd of this year, so it's coming out soon. Yeah, so they started it off with that. Then after that, they went into Horizon Zero Dawn DLC, which, alright. So Horizon Zero Dawn, The Frozen Wilds, which has me
excited.
Yeah. I don't think they've got an exact release date for this. It's just going to be coming out sometime this year. So, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, like, from what I've seen of Horizon Zero Dawn, it looks like a pretty good game and everything, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with this and what they might add to it. But, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. So, first brief look at Horizon DLC. They showed more for Days Gone, which I don't know if it's the main kind of thought the main consistence for everybody. But I know some of the people I've listened to have done, they've done E3 videos as well, and they don't seem like they're all that interested because, it's another zombie game and everything. It's trying to be Last of Us, even though I don't really get Last of Us vibes all that much. I mean, I guess I see the comparison a little bit, but it's like, At this day and age, if you compare everything to Last of Us, you're pretty much just saying just because it's cinematic or whatever, it's because it's Last of Us. It's like, okay, well, It's basically like the whole thing where every hack and slash that came out after God of War came out was immediately called a God of War clone, which is like, okay, way to frickin' just group everything together. But I don't know. Frickin' Days Gone, we now know, has frickin' zombie animals. There's frickin' zombie wolves and frickin' zombie bear at the end of the trailer, which looked pretty crazy. But I don't know. The gameplay they showed there was relatively brief. I don't think it was as long as what we got last year, but it was still more, and it looked interesting. But yeah, I don't know. It's I don't think we still don't have a release date for that. So who knows? We might be waiting a decent amount of time for that one. We might see it again at E3 next year, very briefly, but I don't know. Next one I know Genocide was at least interested in was Capcom revealed Monster Hunter World for PS4 and everything, which I've heard of the Monster Hunter series, but I'm not too familiar with what exactly everything that goes with the series is or anything. I think it's pretty much mainly been on Nintendo stuff, like probably the 3DS and stuff. But so Monster Hunter, like the Monster Hunter game, is coming out on PS4. I think it's also on the Xbox One, maybe, and other platforms. I'm not sure, but yeah. So Monster Hunter World coming out early 2018. I don't know. I mean, I don't know really what to make of it all that much. I mean, you're killing giant monsters and everything, so, that seems fun. But, and it seems, I think it is a cooperative thing as well, so, that kind of adds to it more, too. But, yeah, so something else Capcom's working on that I don't think anybody really knew about, actually. But, the next thing is probably one of the bigger things. It's either the actual reveals that came out of Sony's conference was a remake of Shadow of the Colossus, which
that was honestly a surprise.
Yeah,
well, I'll buy it probably because I never played it before.
You said you might buy it because you never played it?
I'll probably buy it because I had never played it before.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat too. I've heard great things about it, but I've never played it. And considering it's just a remake and everything, so they're probably... I mean, they've already said that they're going to be changing the controls and everything a little bit, which makes sense considering it's probably a kind of game to play maybe nowadays, but I don't know if they said that there's going to be an option to go back to the original controls if you want, but that might be an option. But, I mean, yeah, if anything, I might end up getting that at some point, considering... it's like freaking Skyrim saying I've never played that either, and, they released a special edition that, who knows at this point. It's been out for like a year or so at this point, but who knows, they might still pick that up at some point. But, I've heard good things. It's pretty big game and everything from the PS2, so if anything, I could very well end up picking that up at some point, because I've never played it. But it's coming sometime next year in 2018. But yeah, that was like one of the few big things they had that they revealed. But, it was kind of out of nowhere. I don't think anybody was really predicting it, especially when they saw like the Japan studio thing pop up. They were like, oh, okay, there must be something new. And then they saw Shadow of the Colossus, like, holy crap. But, yeah, visually it looked nice too, but, remakes usually do look pretty good considering they're actually remaking them and not just touching them up. But, next thing they showed for was Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which they showed another kind of story trailer, and alright, you got Thanos and everything in it, but I don't know. Can't really say too much about these because, fighting games aren't necessarily a big area for me either. We kind of stated this earlier, but this one I think is the first Marvel vs. Capcom to have a story mode, because that was one thing that the last one didn't have, but also at the same time, if you look back at that, point in time, the only games that were also having story modes at that point were freaking, like, Mortal Kombat 9, and that was, like, about it. Like, I don't think Street Fighter 4 had a story. Street Fighter 5, I know, didn't have a story, at least not when it first came out. But, I mean, that was still around the time, thanks to NetherRealms with Injustice and Mortal Kombat 9, they were kind of bringing story modes as a standard into fighting games, and that's something that's just continued. So, Capcom's finally just decides, like, let's do a freaking story mode. But yeah, that's coming out relatively soon. It's coming out September 19th of 2017. I've heard some negative things, like the animations and everything, the graphics not being all that, great, and how a lot of the cast is stuff that's too samey from the previous games, and also the fact that there's clear removals of characters, like there's no X-Men in the game and stuff like that. So, people are kind of about that. That, and there's another brief thing that I've heard is, like, they keep kind of ending these on really kind of jokes. Like, it's just kind of awkward. It's not so much like they're not necessarily funny, it's just that they're kind of like, okay, and nobody else is laughing. This is kind of awkward. But, yeah, I don't know. That's coming out September 19th of 2017, like I said, so it's coming out soonish. But we'll see how that plays out. And then, of course, because it was the Sony conference, we have to show Call of Duty stuff. So we saw Call of Duty World War II trailer. It was just another trailer. We already have gameplay of it, to an extent, I think, anyway. I don't know. It looks fine. Graphically, I don't know. It was this with this trailer, I think, it kind of was more apparent to me of it. But I don't know if they finally changed their engine, because apparently from what you've told me, they've been using the same engine. They've just been reworking it constantly over and over for, like, every game, which is probably what they're doing here. But this one looks pretty good graphically. I don't know if it's actually any different than the previous ones, but visually it looks nice. But still, we'll see how people treat this one, whether they stick to what they've said for a while, or they're like, we've had the games that we've had for so many years now, so try the World War II setting again and go back to that at least for once, one more time or whatever, because you haven't done it in a while. We'll see how people react to it. So, but I mean, yeah, November 3rd, 2017. So I mean, we'll see what happens with it. And then we got the announcement of a Skyrim VR. So this is like other than the Switch, this is another way that you're going to be able to play Skyrim, which, yeah, I know everybody makes the joke of like, oh, too much Skyrim or, whatever, but you know what? If anything, at least the way that the ways that they've been porting Skyrim at least are in interesting ways, because the Switch allows for interesting things to be done with the game. And VR makes interesting things with the game as well. So, only thing is, that's also something that's on PlayStation Store as well. And you can pre-order that for $60, which makes it seem like it's not just going to be an add-on or whatever for Skyrim as it is already. And I don't know how I feel about that, because if it's literally just going to be Skyrim in its entirety, unless it's like an altered version like Doom and Fallout might end up being, just like, it's not like just, because I'd imagine if they were just going to remake the same game that they already had released and just add a VR mode to it, why not just have that be like a DLC or something like that? Just add that in some way. Don't make it people pay another like $60 retail price for a VR thing which is probably why they're going to try to. I imagine they're going to try to make it almost like their own specific game, but in the same style as games that have already been released. But I don't know how the Skyrim one works out. I know that they're trying to make it work with just being able to freely move around instead of trying to basically do what the Doom game, at least from what we've seen of it, is doing, where you just like point and click and snap around the different parts of the areas. They want free movement, but the PlayStation Move controllers apparently don't have analog sticks, which I thought they did, but maybe they don't, or maybe it's just not as easy to move around with those controllers as you might think. So I don't know, but we'll see how that works out. So it's yet another way to play Skyrim if you didn't have enough already, really. So I don't know. We'll see how everything kind of fits together on that one. And I kind of understand why they saved that for Sony's conference, because, well, in terms of console stuff, considering Sony's the only one that has a freaking VR headset on their console, I guess it makes sense why they saved it for that. So, I mean, they could have revealed it. I mean, especially considering they, Bethesda revealed 2 VR things, or 1 technically, and just showed off another one we already knew was going on. But they focused on VR briefly at the beginning of their conference. They could have easily shown Skyrim VR on there, but yeah, I don't know. So yeah, another way to play Skyrim. I don't think it has a release date yet, but I don't know, maybe sometime next year or something. But also, that kind of kicked off the whole VR section of this of their conference. Where they basically just briefly looked through games. There's a game called Star Child, which I'm not entirely sure. I think there's a couple of them that were like 2D. Supposedly, in terms of appearance, they seemed like they were like 2D side-scroller games that are somehow VR related.
Yeah, I still don't get how those work.
Yeah, I mean, well, I some of them at least. I'd imagine there's going to be parts where you move parts of the environment or something and they help the character or something, but I don't know, they did show a decent, like,
you
a
could
2 or
just
so
do that
of
on TV and motion controls.
Yeah, but it's, I don't know, I don't know, we'll have to maybe see on that one, but that's also, and also, to some of these, they might just have a VR mode, because, just because it has VR on it doesn't mean it's going to be required. But, and then you could say it was like, well, what the point is showing it if it's not a pure VR game? Well, it still has the mode, so. But
I can't say anything for that one for one reason.
What?
Nep. You son of a bitch, because I'm going to need to get a VR headset. I'm actually going to be able to play that in VR.
Oh, good lord, yes, I know. Anyway. I say no, but I also kind of mean yes. But anyway, yeah. Then there's the Inpatient, which is a VR, which apparently I think some people were thinking it might be related to Until Dawn, because apparently there was something in the trailer that was kind of connected to that.
Felt very reminiscent of other games.
But I'm not too sure if whatever they were looking at was either a coincidence, a reference that doesn't mean they're connected, but a reference. But yeah, but who knows? It might be. I mean, they already technically, I think, did a VR Until Dawn thing.
They did.
Yeah,
they did. It was called Rush of Blood, I believe, or something along those lines.
Yeah, they already did something to some extent, but who knows? It might be related in some way, but. Yeah, I mean, graphically it looked nice for VR and everything, so, it was alright, I guess. But, all these were real brief glimpses and everything, so. But, then we got another VR thing for Final Fantasy 15, I think this is, which is fishing! It's like, okay.
That's what that's a reference to, that fucking...
Yeah,
I was trying to figure out exactly what that was a reference to.
Yeah, it was a reference
to... The second I saw Final Fantasy 15, I just kind of zoned the fuck out.
Yeah, you missed all the extreme, bro fishing they had going on where they're trying to capture these giant freaking fish. Like, they had, like, giant freaking sea creatures they were catching. It's like, alright, Japan, fair enough. You got a VR fishing game with Final Fantasy, and it's coming out September 17th. But that's the other thing. I think some of these other ones... Yeah, I don't think some of these other ones had release dates, at least not that I put on here, but...
Now I'm gonna end up buying the fucking... damn Bravo team, or whatever that one was called.
Yeah, that's actually the next one on this list here.
Probably Farpoint from last year. Actually, I still gotta look into if that was any good or not. That's a whole different issue. We'll deal with that another time.
But yeah, Bravo Team's the next one. It's a military type thing, but I don't know. Seems pretty.
It could be some fun.
Yeah, as a VR game, it could probably add something. I mean, I guess it doesn't seem like it's anything too interesting or unique, but it seems like it might provide something. You don't have to have as far as I'm concerned, I've said before, it's like you don't always have to be entirely unique or trying to always do something.
You just gotta do it well.
Yeah, you just gotta do something well. Yeah, but
so you find something unique, then make something unique. Otherwise, you just do something else that has been attempted before and just do it really fucking well.
Yeah, but and I believe there's two games. I think it was Supergiant Games or whatever that was working on Bravo Team. They were also the one that was doing the Inpatient, so they're doing those two, I think. But then the last VR one on here is
one VR game. Might as well make two.
Yeah. There's the last VR game we had here, or at least that's going to have a VR mode, is Moss, which has like a little mouse and everything, which seems like it might be similar to the Star Child one, where you're, I guess, helping a character or whatever through something, maybe, but I don't know. It was kind of cute. It was kind of nice to kind of break up some of the other stuff they were showing and stuff, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what maybe comes out of that and everything. But so yeah, that was our VR segment. Which one thing I'll also say is their transition into the VR and out of the VR was way more obvious this year than last year, and they probably did that on purpose because there was like no. Because how rapid fire it was last year, there was like no indication of what was VR really and what wasn't. Some of them was more obvious than others. Final Fantasy was because they actually had the freaking VR headset on the characters, but like some of them weren't. This time they actually, like, when they went into the VR, they showed a little thing of zooming into the goggles of the headset, and then when they went into like the actual console stuff, they zoomed back out and they went into the top of the PlayStation 4 Pro or whatever. So, it's more obvious, a little more obvious. And first thing they showed, we got another trailer for God of War, and it looks pretty good. The combat seems pretty legit. I mean, it's not obviously not it's not the same as the other games, but it's still fast. It seems like you can still do a lot of really cool stuff. And yeah. But
the Norse mythology setting definitely has me interested.
Yeah,
especially because I'm pretty sure part of what we saw was the Midgard serpent, which is fucking cool.
Yeah, that thing.
Also, again, Artie, you fuck. Why is that snake so big?
But that freaking, I was looking at because they actually added a PlayStation Store page for that too. They
being an uncultured swine.
On disc only. Anyway. But anyway,
no season pass.
No DLC. Okay, I'll say that real quick. The reason I was looking that up, because I was actually looking up Silent Hill music and stuff earlier today, and I was looking at PlayStation Store stuff as well, but I looked up some of those, and you'll find some games on PlayStation Store that have a PlayStation Store page, but they'll only have, it will say disc only.
On disc.
Yeah, it will have disc.
Which makes no sense.
Well, yeah, it doesn't make any sense from the standpoint of, like, why would there be a PlayStation Store page for a game that isn't also digital? But at the same point, you gotta remember,
just because it's on disc, it might still have DLC, which means they have to create a page for that anyway. So while you may not be able to buy it digitally, you still have to have something to go to, a page to go to if there's any DLC for it.
But
so
why have a DLC, or why like not just have the ability to buy the game on the store?
I don't know. I think that was kind of something that for some earlier PS3, because I know like the first Sonic and All Stars Racing game was only on disc, and it had DLC. Silent Hill Homecoming, which is the one I was looked at, didn't have any DLC. It was only on disc, which is weird that it did have a page. But there's like one other I could maybe think of, but regardless. But yeah, that's what I was getting at. But regardless, back to God of War. Yeah, they added a PlayStation Store page, and I was looking at the screenshots, and then all of a sudden I saw the one of the freaking serpent because it was like the last one, and I looked at it, I was like, oh crap, because that thing, and for some reason that screenshot, just seeing the freeze frame of it, it looks cool, but man, that thing looks freaky at the same time. It's like, jeez. But
well, it's giant snake. What do you expect?
This giant snake, he looks badass with sharp teeth, but it also looks a bit freaky with yellow eyes. And it looks like it's got a little bit of beard going on too. But anyway, the new God of War. If you were worried about the combat in any way, of it not being, whatever. It still has the combat, which I think was apparent enough from last year's even. But it seems like it's different type of combat, but it seems like you're still gonna be able to mix and match and do really cool stuff with it. So, they showed a bit more story of it and everything, but they showed some cool stuff. And we didn't get an exact release date, but it is coming early next year, which is kind of the time frame I figured it would be. And I'm not sure if because there's been a decent amount of God of War leaks for the release date, because there's been like a lot of Amazon pages and stuff popping up. I don't think any of them were actually early next year. I think a lot of them were saying like at the end of this year, but apparently not. So I'd imagine it's probably going to be, obviously I'd imagine within the first half of next year, because it says early, but depends on how early that necessarily is.
Fucking 10 seconds into January 1st. Okay, I got it, wartime.
But,
such bullshit. It's like, oh yeah, we could have released it like a few days earlier, but fuck you guys, we didn't want to.
Alright, so this next one I know, Jess, you're probably not going to care about. And in the terms of the stuff they showed for it, I don't know. For a lot of people, I think it wasn't as interesting as what they showed last year. For Detroit Become Human, the stuff they showed this year, I think from what I saw, because it also has a PlayStation Store page, and the image that they have for the game shows 3 different characters. So I'd imagine what they've been doing is they're showing like trailers for each kind of character, or doing something with them. But I don't think a whole lot of people, because this trailer was set up pretty similar to last year's trailer. But I think more people were kind of interested in last year's trailer just because it seemed like more kind of detective stuff and everything. It just, I don't know, it clicked better, I think, last year than it did this year. Because this year it kind of gives off that vibe for a lot of people that it's just kind of a generic, oh, the freaking machines are rising and all that crap. It's like,
it really did feel like that.
Yeah, well, last year it showed more of just like kind of that. I guess you could kind of predict it from last year, but it just seemed more like there was more depth and there's more conflict to it and everything, and it seemed really cool. This year it just kind of gave off a different vibe, but I don't know. Maybe that's just
just products to them. Yes, because you're a fucking machine designed to be sold.
But it's like, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. We also still did not get a release date for that, so who knows when that thing's freaking coming out. I mean, I didn't think it would be any time necessarily soon, but I'd say maybe sometime next year. We'll see if we'll end up seeing another E3, because this is that'd be like the third or so E3 in a row we've seen it, but I don't know.
And if we count the engine that it was sort of, I guess you could say it was almost hinted at a little bit, Because Quantic Dream made some engine, and in the video they had made for it, it almost felt like a precursor to this.
Oh, you mean that one thing
like...
that was like called Kara or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. Because that was a thing that there was like an engine test video that they uploaded like years ago, and nothing ever came of it. Because they're like, and then all of a sudden they say, like Detroit Become Human, and there's something connecting. It's been a while since I've seen that video because I did see it, but there is something connecting it because I think the one female character that's in this is maybe the same character from that, and that's what this is meant to be. Like, they're actually turning that into a game now, and that's why people kind of got interested, because it was like, holy crap, because a lot of people thought that little short thing, pretty much, short video, was pretty interesting, and they're finally getting to kind of making it more into a game here. So, and I think she is a character. I think it's one of the first times they showed it. I think this game has been at 2 E3 or so far. I think
this is definitely at least its I believe this is its second one. Unless they only announced it at one before that.
I think it might be its third, actually, because I remember there was a trailer that came out that was before the detective one that came out last year. I don't know if it was at E3 or not, but I think this might be its third one. I think. So
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because I think so far they've released trailers for like the characters they've shown. So I don't know. We might see it briefly at a fourth E3. I don't know. That's another thing I'll mention here is the fact that
I'm getting tired of looking at it.
I'll mention it here is the fact that I think Yoshida himself brought up the fact like how they didn't this year at Sony, they didn't have a whole lot of new stuff, and they also didn't have a whole lot of release dates, and he just basically said it's like, yeah, we're just gonna have them to take their time, and we're gonna. Yeah, and also it's also the fact it's like I think somebody from Sony also basically said it's like not every E3 can have something that absolutely blows you out of the water. And I thought the same thing. It's like, in some of the videos I was watching of people talking about the E3, it was like the same thing with like, oh, there should probably be an Elder Scrolls thing. It's like, no. It's the same mindset of like every E3 has to be amazing and have to have something big. Yeah, while you would want that and you kind of expect that, you gotta be realistic.
They showed off one thing to at least have something out of the ordinary to show.
But, I mean, like, I don't know, it's just the fact that not every E3 can be absolutely crazy, because I kind of thought this was going to be what E3 was going to be, because I kind of thought this pattern and it seems like the pattern is continuing, not so much for all of E3, but like for Sony's conference, because like it seems like every year, like 1 year Sony's will have like the best one, and then Microsoft's seems like they get a little bit of the edge from people, and then the next year Sony does really well again, and then it's like it's a back and forth, because like 1 year when Microsoft revealed the backward compatibility for 360 games on the Xbox One, people kind of edged out on that, I think, a little bit, and then next year, which was last year's, came out, and then freaking Sony blew everything out of the water. And then this year comes around, and not only that, and then PlayStation Experience last year comes out, and Sony still had like 4 more things to show that easily could have been.
Screwed them over because they showed off a lot of their cooler, or announced a lot of their cooler shit then.
Yeah, well,
honestly surprised that we didn't get any news on Last of Us 2.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at that too, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense because they're probably still somewhat early into that, because from what I understand, that trailer they showed at PlayStation Experience was kind of, I don't want to say thrown together as a bad thing, but it was kind of set up as like, you know what, let's show people this and let them know it's a thing because we are working on it. But I think that game's somewhat early on, because they did say, I think, that it's being put in a new engine for Naughty Dog, so it might be...
Oh, so yeah, that's going to take a little extra time for them. I mean,
yeah.
It would have started work on early development after Uncharted 4 had wrapped up development, more than likely.
Yeah, at least concepts of it.
Don't get me wrong, at least some of the studio would have still been working on
Lost Legacy.
Lost Legacy.
Yeah.
But so it's like they probably have the groundwork laid, but if they were switching to a new engine, that could have extended
because from what I remember at PlayStation Experience, what I saw, Sean Layden did say is like, we have a developer that wants to show you this, and I think you'll really enjoy it. And he said, I think he said something about like they have it running in a new engine and everything. Enjoy. And so yeah, if they're running in a new engine, then yeah, it's probably going to take a bit more time to get adapted to that. But
simply because we just gotta learn it. Because when it's Naughty Dog working with the Naughty Dog's usual stuff, doing what Naughty Dog does best, they can pump that shit out easy.
Yeah.
That's what Naughty Dog does. But if you're used to working with a wrench and all of a sudden you're handed a freaking hammer, try doing wrench things with a hammer. You can probably figure it out at some point. But you're gonna have to take a little time to figure out how you need to wrench shit with a hammer.
Yeah. But
I don't have any sexual-based
you blew your load too early there.
I always do.
Yeah, it's a very human problem. Don't feel like you're the only one. But anyway, all right. So next one, I also don't think Genocide's going to care too much for this, and to an extent, I guess I don't really either. But also, just like Call of Duty, Destiny 2 had to be shown at Sony's because Activision has a deal with them.
1.5.
But I don't know. From like the brief story stuff they had in the trailer, because the rest of it is just like let's have people running and everything, like traditional stuff. But I don't know. It showed more of like the fact that yes, we're destroying this freaking city in this one. Freaking fight for it, But I don't know. The bad guy there kind of looked cool, I guess. But whatever. I mean, whatever. I mean, I have the first Destiny. I played it. I thought it was fine since I never got anywhere further with it as it went on because I just never bought any of the DLCs, and I'm not gonna bother with it probably at this point. So, yeah. I mean, whatever. It looked fine, but So there's that. It's still coming out since September 6th of 2017, so, whatever.
I'll be waiting until the following month to pick up a shooter.
But then...
Unless Battlefront comes out before. I'm wondering if I'll have to Google that later. We'll deal with that later.
What, when Battlefront 2 is coming out?
Yeah.
I think it is coming out... maybe September? Don't know.
Well, then
I think it's coming. Yeah, I think it's like it might be coming out November. Actually, let me scroll back on my notes.
I was about to say, you say October, man.
Let me see. Actually, didn't put a release date. Yeah, I think it's coming out November 1st or something like that. I think anyway. November 12th, something. But anyway,
it's bad enough how many games I have to deal with that I want that are coming out around in October.
Dude, how do you think, I've told you this multiple times, how do you think I felt going into this year? Like, there was 6 or so games, and more was kind of getting added on. And there's games I bought this year that I didn't even plan ahead for. It's like, oh, it's on sale, I'll buy it. But,
ridiculous. I mean, hell, I think even Cyber Dimension comes out in October.
Maybe they said holiday, so potentially.
It just has me why? I mean, on one hand, if it's later in the year, okay. That means I have a little more time to play shit like Wolfenstein and that. On the other hand, if it's late in the year, oh no, I had more time before I can play my new Nets.
I want my laps. But, I mean... Yeah, like I said, Jess, I've said this before. It's like, how do you think I felt going into this year? There's freaking 5 things. And none of them were even from E3 necessarily last year. 1 or 2 of them were. And it's going into this year, it's like, it's like, okay. But anyway, Then the last thing they showed us with was, this is when I thought they were going to show The Last of Us, just because of the way I think it was Sean Layton set this up. He was like, alright, and here's a true exclusive from a beloved developer of and everything, and then he's like, please enjoy, and I was thinking, okay, a true exclusive from a loved developer, it's gonna be Naughty Dog, right? And no, it's freaking Insomniac with their Spider-Man game, and yeah, it looked cool.
I mean, I wish they hadn't closed the conference out on that, but honestly, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks very good. I've already heard comparisons of the Arkham games to it, but that's kind of standard at this point with the combat in these type of games, but it looked really good. It looked pretty good. The combat and everything, the way everything worked together looked pretty nice. I'd imagine it's going to be open world, because there was still kind of some back and forth on whether it is or isn't going to be that, but the fact that they give you a freaking radar, I'd imagine you would think it would be open world, because it's like, oh, look at all those buildings, and also the buildings are, like swinging past. Look at all these buildings that you won't get to go to. It's like, yeah, I don't think that would happen, but yeah, like the stuff that was just the way everything tied together in that trailer, considering everything was pretty much like one shot, was pretty nice. It was pretty nice to see. But yeah, so yeah, it's if there was any doubt, because I think it was pretty much confirmed that it was going to be an exclusive to the PS4. If there was any doubt about that, it's confirmed now. It's only on the PS4, which is still kind of weird to me, but I mean, they do have a developer that's kind of mostly associated with Sony on it. Doesn't mean that it couldn't have been on multiple platforms, but still, it's kind of weird having a Spider-Man.
Holdover from Sony's old deal with the movies for Spider-Man. I think it's probably a result of a holdover from that. When they sold the rights back to Marvel.
Well, they didn't sell the rights back. Sony still owns the rights, actually. It's just, they worked out a deal where they're having Spider-Man in the movies and everything for some time and everything. But, yeah, Sony still owns the rights to it. But, which, that's the thing is with this is the design, like with the eyes, you can tell, and the suit to an extent, is inspiration, I'd say, from the MCU, but apparently they have said it's not going to be tied in with that. Like, there may be similarities and stuff, but it's not going to be tied in. It's not going to be like where a freaking Star Wars game is going to have to be canon or anything. It's like the Marvel games or whatever can still be their own things, but yeah, so, but I don't know, the trailer was really cool, seeing just all the stuff of how they were doing everything. I know some people were kind of on the QuickTime events, but I don't know. I mean, at least there's nothing like in Sonic Unleashed where you have to mash the X button 50 times. But, yeah, I don't know. It seemed like it was fine, though. Seems like a solid game, and especially for them to have an exclusive to it, then, yeah, I think that would be good for them. But the weird thing is that they had like a brief sizzle reel after the end of that trailer, and then they had something that tied into that end of the trailer where they showed Miles Morales from the comics, which is another Spider-Man from the comics. I don't think it worked that well. Like, I understand they were trying to do like, oh, here's a one brief last little thing, but the thing is, it works better because if you watch the trailer for it that they have on YouTube, that plays immediately after the title and everything goes away. Like it traditionally, every trailer, movie trailer, is doing a one last thing at the end of their trailers. But
wait, there's more.
Yeah, and then but the thing is, Sony's conference, they played that trailer. They ended the Spider-Man gameplay. Then they went into a frickin' sizzle reel. And then they showed 2 seconds of that, and then it's okay, that kind of was unnecessarily spaced out a bit, but yeah. And also it was kind of awkward going to the exiting Sony's conference because
it zooms out, the camera zooms out, everybody just like slowly gets up and walks away, and it's like, okay. But like overall, Sony's also, by the way, Spider-Man is apparently coming out early 2018. We don't have an exact release date, but yeah, it's coming out sometime next year.
Conference of 2018.
Yeah, but Sony's. I kind of thought that this was kind of how it would be. It wouldn't be anything amazing because this is the same way I think I felt. I think it was 2014 because I think 2014 was when they announced Horizon. And I remember that year because that was the year that I kind of felt like, it wasn't doing it for me. Like, Horizon, it's not so much the stuff looked bad or anything. I didn't think Horizon looked bad. It's just like...
No, 2014, I think, was when Horizon was leaked, if I remember right. Like, because I remember there was a leak for Horizon. We at least had what we thought was just a codename Horizon. We had some of the...
Okay, well, yeah. Okay, never mind.
Horizon got full-on announced until, like, 2015?
Yeah, 2015. Okay, yeah, I went 1 year earlier, because I always get these mixed up, because I was trying to think of one, because obviously we did an E3 stuff for last year, but I know we didn't do one for the 1 year. But it was 2015.
Well, we did do one for the 1 year. But then,
well, I don't even know. I don't know that whole, even that stuff, like, even more blurry for me because it's like I can't remember anything. But so it was that year that like 2015 when they revealed the Horizon, where I was just like, okay, new IP, all right, whatever, and then next year, or I guess last year's, where they showed Horizon gameplay off, and I was like, okay, this looks pretty freaking cool. And then it's just like the whole conference was really freaking good. And then, this year it's kind of like 2015, because I think a lot of people in 2015 were also kind of like they are now, where they're like, okay, I mean, alright, fair enough, I guess, but, nothing too crazy. Now, I'm kind of interested, although they did keep... that's one thing I said I was kind of wondering if they were going to keep was the whole rapid, game after game after game, which they did. But also I kind of heard one thing was where that might kind of be, since it's becoming more of a trend, it also might be kind of a bad thing, because granted, while there's not as much talking and people always complain about the talking, sometimes the talking kind of helps break up some of the stuff so you can kind of understand and process what you just saw. But, I don't know. But, I don't know. It's going to be interesting what happens with Sony next year, because, like I said, some of their stuff still doesn't have any release date of any sort. Like Detroit Become Human. What else? There was like one other on here. Detroit Become Human. What else? There's like one other on here. Days Gone. Days Gone still doesn't have like a release date of any kind. And we've already seen those games. Like Detroit, we've already seen like 2 or 3 E3s already. Days Gone, we've already seen it 2. So we could see those at another one. So like a 4th and E3 for Detroit and a 3rd E3 for frickin' Days Gone. And I don't know. It's like some of the stuff we're probably getting... Now, granted, that stuff we probably won't see for very long. Granted, I say that about Days Gone, but if you look at Detroit Become Human, we've already seen that like 3 times, so who knows? They do another section on it. But,
I'll think about how many times we saw or how many years that we went without seeing anything for Last Guardian, and how many times we did see The Last Guardian.
Yeah, but, I mean, like... I don't know, some of that stuff is going to happen next year, I'm sure. They'll have other stuff we've already seen from past couple years. And then they'll have, I think next year we'll have more room for stuff, because it's not so much the fact that they didn't have anything new to show. I'm sure some of their studios are working on new stuff. It's just the fact that the stuff that they have hasn't been released yet. So they kind of, doesn't mean they have to show it again, but they feel like they kind of like, okay, well, let's show. And plus, to be fair, stuff like God of War and everything, we hadn't seen like any, like we saw gameplay of it last year, but we didn't see, ever since then, we haven't seen like really anything from it at all. So it's same thing with Days Gone. So the stuff we did see again, it at least made sense why we saw more of it because we didn't really see anything since last year. But I don't know, it's going to be interesting what happens with Sony next year because of the fact that more of their stuff will be out by then. Because God of War probably will be out by next E3. I know that they didn't show stuff on stage for it, but like the Crash remakes, which is I'd say a relatively big deal for them, it will already be out by then, way before then, because it's coming out at the end of this month. That will be out. Anything else they have coming out by the end of this year will be out by then. So they'll have their plate will be a little bit more clean. It won't be as packed with stuff. So they'll have a little bit more room to, and maybe have peanuts. And maybe have more stuff to actually have far enough in development to show off next year. I don't know if it may still not be an amazing year for Sony next year, but if anything, it might be better than this one, but not quite as good as maybe last year, because it might be kind of a mix of the two, because you'll have relatively big announcements, like maybe another new IP, or a sequel to something maybe, or something like that, but then the other half will kind of be like this year, where there's kind of middle-of-the-road announcements. I'm sure we'll probably have another brief VR section, as much, regardless if you like VR or not. The thing is, Sony's put way too much money and time into it to just simply be like, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. Because you know what will happen? It's going to die off. And despite whether you think VR is going to die off already or not, it's going to die off faster if Sony does that. So they have to do something with it. But I don't know. But it will be interesting to see what Sony ends up doing potentially next year, and it could probably be a mix of what they did this year. But I don't think Sony's was terrible. But they showed what they wanted to show. They did show.
It was a victim of their tendency to show too much at other times.
Yeah, but I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that necessarily either. And even if they did save the stuff that they showed at PlayStation Experience till now, I don't think that would have helped it a whole lot. It would have helped it, but it wouldn't helped it a lot. Because, they showed the reveal of Uncharted The Lost Legacy, which might have been more appropriate to show it now if they were able to hold off till then, because it is coming out by this year, so maybe it would have been more appropriate closer to release. But still, Crash is an exception, obviously, because that was just gameplay. We already knew that was happening. Last of Us, yeah, maybe, considering that's still probably pretty far out, so yeah, they could have done that. There's a few other things at that freaking conference that I can't remember, but yeah, they could have done that with Last of Us at the very least, and I don't know how much that would have helped them necessarily, but I don't know. That's just what they want to do. They want to have 1 year of just big stuff, and then it's we'll let it cool down next year. It's the same thing that happened, I think, of 2015 or maybe last year, where Sony basically was saying, yeah, we don't really have any exclusives, but whatever, and people were like, oh, Sony, you don't have any exclusives, blah, 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 blah. And it's how do you not have any more coming out this year? And guess what? They were perfectly fine. It's they were fine. So, I don't know. But, yeah, we'll see what happens next year when Sony has their, they have stuff, more of their stuff kind of rolled out. God of War will be out by then, and stuff some of their bigger stuff will be out, so they'll have more space clear.
And we'll probably see new stuff from maybe a new game announcement from Guerrilla, maybe. Definitely a new game announcement from Sucker Punch.
Actually, that's another thing. It's kind of interesting we didn't see anything for Sucker Punch this year. But, we'll have to see them eventually, because they have to be doing something.
I know they're working on something, just don't know what. New Infamous, new IP, I'm down either way because I like them. I like what they do.
Yeah, but
They may not make that PP Doom hard, but
But yeah, I don't know if we'd see a new thing from Guerrilla, because I think that might be a little too soon, and depending on how much they want to do with Horizon still, I don't know. Because, I mean, we are getting Horizon DLC,
the big question.
So... Yeah, because, I mean, we're going to be getting another Horizon at some point, because that is a new IP, but depends on how long they want to go with DLC. I mean, I don't think they did a season pass or anything, so...
They did not. In fact, they didn't even talk about the possibility of DLC until after the game came out.
Yeah.
Probably which I think why some people like it.
Yeah. I think if anything, that's understandable considering that was like a new IP, so like we don't even know if this is gonna really do all that great. So let's see what happens. But yeah, I think Sony's is kind of what I figured would happen. It would be a dip in terms of what people would be at, whether people would be happy with it or not. But I don't know. I don't think it was terrible. But yeah, so I guess we'll move on to the last one here. Nintendo. They were, I think, the shortest out of all the conferences. They didn't show... I'll say they didn't show a whole lot. They had announcements, but they didn't show a whole lot. Because I think, I'm trying to think of one of the few things. They started talking about, we're going to have a Splatoon-type championship thing. We're going to have this championship. We're going to have ARMS, all that stuff. And some of the two biggest things they announced, they didn't even show any actual stuff of. And, that was just kind of passively said or whatever. But, we're trying to think, we got another new Yoshi game coming out. It's just called Yoshi. We don't know if it's going to have anything else to it. It kind of looks, I've heard a lot of comparisons of, Little Big Planet, but with Yoshi. It's similar. It's an appropriate comparison considering it's Yoshi with cardboard backgrounds and stuff like that instead of wool and yarn and everything. But I don't know. It looks cute and everything. And obviously we got Mario Odyssey coming out. I think October 27th as well at the end of this year. Which it's a Mario game. Pretty much it looks good and everything. Music was pretty good and everything. I think they did talk about Pokken Tournament coming because we knew that was a version was coming. I don't know, maybe we didn't. I think this might have been more confirmation. But
they announced it back when they announced the new versions of Sun and Moon.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, and the fact that they're adding more fighters to that, I don't know how many, but...
Like Darkrai.
Yeah, because that if anything, I've heard at least one complaint about that game was there was not enough fighters for that game. There was 8 or something, and I don't know if it got any DLC, and even afterwards they were there's not enough fighters in this. But, yeah, but... I mean, the two announcements that I said they kind of... just said, and it's the only two I can obviously think of, is the fact that they have, they briefly went to Pokemon, and they were talking about, oh yes, a Pokemon RPG is coming to the Switch. Bye. It's we know it's happening now, which we kind of heard rumors or whatever that it was happening. So, there's that. But, I think the biggest stuff for a lot of people was the fact that Metroid is finally freaking coming back after how many years?
Yeah, and I actually finally watched the little reveal or announcement trailer.
Yeah.
And even though it's just the letter number 4,
and then the Metroid
with the
Prime,
word Metroid Prime, and the fucking Metroid Prime music. Oh my god!
Yeah.
When I finally watched the trailer, I think I was internally more excited than when I saw the Wolfenstein 2 trailer.
Yeah, but it's been a good amount of time. The last Metroid game, I think. Well, the last Metroid game at all that we got was, I think.
Metroid Other M.
Well, not even that, but that was the last full-on Metroid game we got, which was obviously the longest ago. But we did get a Metroid Prime Federation Forces, I think.
We do not talk about that. We
for
do not talk about that thing.
For the 3DS,
that does not exist. That is a nightmare.
Okay, but anyway, but we got that. But it's, I mean, that was it.
That was not a thing that happened.
But we had, but yeah, now we're getting freaking 2 Metroid things. We're getting a Metroid Prime 4 after years, because that's even going further back than Other M, because that was like Metroid Prime 3 was also on the Wii, and that was further back. So we're finally getting another Metroid, and we're getting a remake of Metroid 2.
And honestly, the remake looks fucking good.
Yeah. Which
I'm sorry, Metroid Prime 4 coming. It's like.
But yeah, like the fact that it kind of makes a bit more sense, because there was a fan project that was I don't know if it was a remake or something of Metroid 2, and of course Nintendo shut it down. But it was released, but they stopped it from being put out there. If the reason why they did that was because they were already working on their own, at least in this case, it kind of makes sense. Either a guy was like, you know what, let's actually take this and do our own, or they just was like, hey, we're already doing our own. Can you please just kind of take this off this website, because I'm kind of doing our own. But regardless, it's a thing.
So jacked. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I guarantee I'm going to buy a Switch now because of Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
Like, let's put it this way. As far as sci-fi first-person shooters go, yeah, like Doom, and then got like Killzone, which obviously got me hyped up enough to immediately buy a PS4 because I like Killzone. Find it to be a decent enough sci-fi world. But fucking Metroid Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Boy. Fucking boy.
But, I mean, yeah, those were probably like the biggest announcements that they had. I think that might have been most of it, because their conference was like the actual thing that they had was like half an hour, and there wasn't a whole lot to it, which I thought there might have been some to it more than that, considering like the fact that it seemed like there was a decent amount of announcements coming out. But no, it's like hour and a half, and it's like, oh, we got a Yoshi game, we got more Mario stuff showing, we got
New Kirby.
Yeah, that's another one that I didn't think of. Yeah, we're getting another Kirby thing. We're getting, like I said, Kirby, Yoshi, Mario stuff getting shown, Metroid coming back, and and that's like that's most of it. I think our Pokemon RPG being confirmed, and Pokemon Tournament talked about briefly, and some of the other stuff talked about briefly, but they might have shown more announcements afterwards, because apparently they were having, like, I guess maybe during their Treehouse stuff, they had more actual freaking announcements, but I'm sorry, put that in your freaking thing. Like, put in your direct or whatever, not after the fact. But yeah, I guess that's it for Nintendo. Like I said, not a whole lot. It was like half an hour, if even, but there was one other conference that I want to bring up, and I don't know I think they only showed two things, but
Devolver Digital.
Yeah, Devolver Digital, which Devolver was freaking insane. Like, I didn't watch that whole thing. I saw like the first part where the woman was trying to get the audience to shut up. She pulls out a gun and starts shooting at the freaking ceiling, and then she reloads the gun and keeps going. But
this is Devolver Digital, motherfucker. We do things our way.
Yeah, exactly. And I love the fact that during the shot where I think she's like stops firing and reloads, it just cuts to a random woman and her child in the audience, and the mother's just sitting there like, ooh, hey, look at that, sweetie, and the kid's just like in awe. It's like, this is totally, like, if this was real, like, if the freaking person just, I mean, the woman's acting was already insane enough, so I probably would have been, I was terrified watching it, alone, let alone being there, I probably would have been flat out terrified. Like, why did I bother coming here? It's so late at night. I just got happy watching Bethesda Land and everything, and now I'm freaking terrified because this psycho chick is shooting a gun at the ceiling of this freaking auditorium. It's like, what is going on? Then I would have been really freaked out, because after, like, somewhat more recently, I found out that apparently she goes so freaking bonkers by the end of the freaking conference, her head explodes. And I was like, what? Like, I don't know what was up about that. Like, I don't think I've ever heard of him before, maybe, but holy crap, like, how does this not get attention in some way to where I would hear about it? Like, oh yeah, this chick was at a conference and she shot a gun, 2 clips or 2 rounds, 2 like clips or whatever of a gun into the freaking ceiling, and then her head exploded at the end of the conference. I was like, how do I not hear about this? Yeah, it's like freaking Adult Swim tried to do a conference or something. It's like, holy crap. But yeah, but there was that, but that was like immediately after Bethesda's, or somewhere around there. It was like really late at night, and I was like, I don't freaking care. Like, I think I might have missed all of Bethesda's because I ended up falling asleep waiting for it. Or maybe it wasn't Bethesda. It was either Bethesda's or I think Sony's might have been part of it. Either that, I think I remember seeing like the last half or so of Sony's because I fell asleep waiting for it because of all the stuff they were talking about. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know. But yeah, that was all the conferences and the stuff that was shown on the conferences. There was actually, it seemed like there was a bit more stuff. Maybe it's just because more stuff I was interested in shown like off stage, but some of that stuff was never being shown on stage, or at least doesn't get shown on stage really anymore nowadays. But I mean, I guess I won't probably talk about those because I can't necessarily think of some of them. But I mean, there was a bunch of them because I was watching it on the IGN app and stuff they were talking about in between the conferences. But I mean, personally, for me, a bunch of other Sonic Forces stuff came out, and, that's interesting, and that's a whole other thing, because the freaking stuff they're doing with that it's pretty out there with what they're doing with that game, but I don't know, we'll see how that works out, but, I don't know, and there was some stuff shown off stage, like I said, but, yeah, that was like all the freaking conferences, but, yeah, I guess just overall on the conferences, we've kind of said it here and there throughout this entire time, was the fact that, yeah, I mean, I didn't think that this E3, well, I didn't know what to think going into the E3 as a whole, but like I said earlier during Sony's I kind of thought could very well have the chance of not being absolutely crazy, but I mean, it's kind of hard to top, or at least immediately top what they did last year. So it's like, give it time, wait till these games actually come out, and then we'll see what happens. But I don't know. But yeah, like with EA's, I don't think anybody's ever really expecting crazy stuff from EA. Microsoft's had, their big Xbox One X thing, but that was kind of it. They did have a bunch of stuff to show in terms of games, regardless if they were entirely exclusive to them or whatever. They did have a lot of stuff. Bethesda's was kind of quick. They had some stuff to show, and it was nice. So it was good. Ubisoft was all right. It wasn't anything too amazing for me, at least, but it was fine. And Sony's was also just kind of fine as well. So it's really like everything was kind of just fine, and like it wasn't below any it wasn't like terrible, it wasn't absolutely amazing, it was just kind of all right, there's stuff that was shown, and that's it, that's that. But and even Nintendo is kind of that way with the obviously with the announcements that were big announcements that they made. Theirs was also kind of short anyway, so it's, they didn't even have all that much more after that to show anyway, but
I don't know. It's going into next year's. I don't know. One thing I didn't say was the fact that this year's E3 did not approach me very fast as it feels like previous years did. This one just kind of was like walking slowly up to me like, hey, it's that time. So it's like tugging on my pants leg, just being like, hey, it's that time again. And it's like, oh, okay, thanks. As opposed to like previous years where it's like freaking running up to me like, hey, it's this time, freaking watch it. And I was like, okay, or pay attention to it. It's like, okay, sure. But, I don't know, we'll see what happens with next year, whether or not that slowly kind of creeps up on me like this year did, or just kind of it's like, hey, freaking watch this. It's this time already. But, I don't know, next year's E3, I don't know. I think it's almost with every E3 is we'll probably see some more of the same stuff that we saw either from last year or this year's in some way. Because who knows, we might actually see more stuff from Anthem at E3's conference next year, so maybe they'll actually have that on their stage next year, which would be interesting. Which that could be their big thing, so they're not going to have Battlefront on there again next year because it will be out by then. Yeah, that could be interesting to see what happens with EA next year, because,
Actually, no, that'll be when they show fucking Visceral's Star Wars game.
If they show more from Anthem and they show something from Visceral, that could be something. Yeah, I mean, EA could have a little bit of something like this year. They could have something a little bit next year like that. That'd be a pretty decent stuff to have there. It probably wouldn't balance out their entire conference, but it would still have something kind of like this year, where there was like 2 or 3 things that had interest in their conference that, whatever. Microsoft, I have no idea where they're going from here. I think it's like they can't make any more backwards compatible announcements to kind of help them, because they're literally every Xbox generation is compatible on their console now, and by that point it will be compatible with Xbox original games. So I don't know, they can't play that card anymore. The freaking Xbox One X is already going to be out. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how they go on from here, because Sony,
worst name ever.
Because Sony's not really pushing their Pro, they're just treating that as a PlayStation in general, so Microsoft might not even really push theirs anymore, really. But, Bethesda, I don't know what Bethesda next year, because maybe we'll get it, I don't know, next year, I'm not entirely sure what, because, what does Bethesda do next year? Because I'm not sure if we'll get it. We might get a tease of... And maybe if that ends up being a thing, yeah, potentially. But
if it is a thing, and not just some fucking rumor that everyone fell for.
Yeah, but I would say we'd maybe get a teaser or something, but I don't know how likely it would be if it was a Fallout, a Doom, or an Elder Scrolls. Because probably not Elder Scrolls. I also don't think a Doom is all that likely, because I don't know how much it might play this. Doom VFR might play into that, but still, Fallout, it might still be a little too early, especially the fact that they're doing also a VR thing with Fallout. And because of all the Skyrim stuff, it might also be, there's so many things going against another Elder Scrolls coming out soon, other than the statements that Bethesda have already made. But I don't know. Wolfenstein obviously is not going to be doing anything, because it's going to, maybe they'll do some DLC or something. I don't know, but they could do something like that, but considering it will be out by that point. But they might talk about Quake Champions again, depending on what happens with that, but I don't know, it's kind of all over the place with that, because yeah, I really don't know, because like I said before, it's I don't know I kind of was thinking, what was Bethesda going to do this year, but now I'm really thinking, what the heck are they going to do next year, because they really kind of got all their stuff out
from all their franchises. Next year?
I don't know, actually. It's probably too early to
see a new Doom until, the conference of 2019.
Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's probably a bit too early to for them to even announce whether they're doing conferences. Because I mean, like, we know Sony's most, unless something crazy happens and they don't go, they're gonna be there. Or Microsoft's gonna be there. I'm sure EA, Ubisoft, and Nintendo will be there. But yeah, I don't know about Bethesda. I don't see why they wouldn't be there. Because I mean, they've been doing it for 3 years so far, and they pretty much have blended right in ever since they first did this, because they never did a conference before, and then the first year they do it and they kind of just fit right in. They weren't like awkward or anything like that. So, but yeah, that would be interesting to see if they even have one next year. Because I mean, and you know what? If they say and they have the decision and they do decide to not go next year, I wouldn't blame them, because they have kind of done almost everything they can do. Because I mean, they've done Doom, and I doubt they're going to do that again so soon. They might not do Fallout so soon, because I think it still is a bit. Give it another year or so, and maybe. But Elder Scrolls is still, I'm sure, far away. Freaking Dishonored, I don't see that, especially with the standalone thing. And yeah. I mean, if they can somehow conjure up something to kind of make a conference worth, and then, what was that game you said, the rumored one?
Starfield, which was canceled. We weren't sure if that was actually.
Well, yeah, I know, but if it is, and that ends up being a big thing that they're still working on, and they reveal it next year, that could be something. But they have to have something else, like a handful of other stuff to go with their conference to justify that.
Unless... Who's making Doom VFR?
I don't know. Would it not be
if it's the main id team, then that would go along with my theory of not seeing a new Doom until like conference of 2019.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
But if it's a side team and the main id team is doing their normal work,
they could be working on something.
Chances are they'd be working on they'd probably be working on Doom 2.
Mm.
What the fuck am I looking at here? But, okay, like I was trying, before I got distracted by something on the store. But if they're looking at Doom, if the main id team is not the creators of Doom VFR, and they're actually working on Doom 2, then we could theoretically see an announcement for that next year.
And then a release the year after.
Yeah, in theory anyways.
Yeah, I could see that at least happening. Yeah, because I think by that point there will be like a 2 or so, maybe almost 2.5 or 2, almost 3
year gap. They developed Doom 2016 in about barely even 3 years span between 2013 and 2016. Because I don't remember hearing exactly when in 2013 they scrapped Doom 4 and started on Doom 2016.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, it was going to be at least a month or 2 at bare minimum, maybe even 3, between when the game finished development and when it actually released, because got to ship it out, got to produce all the copies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's entirely possible that within just under 3 years they developed Doom 20. Well, it's not entirely possible. It's what happened. So it wouldn't be that out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
Developed. Wait, hold the fuck up.
Is it the main id team?
I was looking for that, but Polybius is coming. Polybius is on the PlayStation Store?
Wait, Polybius as in the myth, the freaking, like...
It's more likely not the actual
game. Yeah, it's the same.
It's the same game
called Polybius
on PlayStation Store that looks like it could be at least potentially from that, at least in the aesthetic of games from that time period. Oh my god, this looks trippy as hell.
Well,
Dude.
Well, at that rate, freaking put a remake of LSD Dream Simulator on there. I know it's technically already on there.
This.
Oh, good lord, no! We don't need the CIA or whatever it was freaking messing with our PS4s like they were messing with game cabinets back then. But
funny thing is, well, oh my, no.
Okay, but anyway,
it gets worse.
Oh gosh, what gets worse?
It's PSVR compatible.
Oh my gosh, no! Why wasn't that at the E3 stage? Freaking everybody starts tripping out. Like, holy crap. But anyway, alright, well I guess we'll close this out, I guess, because we pretty much given our thoughts on, obviously we've given our thoughts on this year's E3. It was fine, it wasn't too amazing, but not every E3 can be amazing as much as we would like it to be.
It was alright, it didn't show any more neps, which
alright, funny side thing though, Genocide, you're right, Neptunia was not at E3, but you want to know what game was on sale as part of the Best of E3 sale?
Mega Dimension?
Yeah, I have no idea why, but it was on there. I have no clue why.
It showed up at E3.
No, who knows? It could maybe have been on somewhere at E3. Like, tons of companies are there, but I don't know how likely that is. I don't know, man. I mean, maybe they worked through Sega. I sent that one picture once of that freaking guy on the Sega, jacket and everything for freaking Cyber Dimension. But anyway, we don't want to turn this into a weeb show. But anyway, but yeah, freaking, yeah. So yeah, E3 this year was fine. But yeah, we'll see what happens next year, because that's, if anything, it's probably going to be in that time where next year is going to be interesting, to really be interesting to see, considering we know that this year was kind of a, the down, going down on the roller coaster, and next year could very well be going up, or at least up a little bit more. But yeah, I guess we've pretty much given our thoughts on everything, so yeah.
We're out.
So yeah, thank you all for watching, and have a great night, and take care, and see you next E3.